Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. I'll just admitting some of the media joining here. It is 10:01. And we have Coach Scott with us on the call. We will get things going here in just a moment. All right. Good morning, and thank you for joining us for the 2024 Mideastern Athletic Conference Weekly Football Coaches video call. I am Elise Scripter, Director of Strategic Communications for the Mideastern Athletic Conference, and I will serve as moderator and co-host of today's question and answer session. Before we begin, I would like to go over today's procedures. The conference will begin with the MEAC notes featuring conference highlights, upcoming events, and weekly accolades. Afterwards, we will ask each head coach questions about previous matchups, the upcoming games, followed by questions from the media. To ask a question, simply click the raise hand feature and remain muted until you are introduced. And now for the MEAC notes. Women's volleyball wrapped up the regular season on Friday and is set for the MEAC volleyball tournament to begin this Friday at Delaware State University in Dover, Delaware. The top seed and regular season champion title goes to Howard University Bison, who finished the conference with a perfect 14-0 record. The last time the Bison accomplished this feat was in 2016. The second seed goes to the reigning MEAC champions, the Eagles of Coppin State University, while third seed goes to the hosting Hornets from Delaware State. Norfolk State will enter as the number 4 seed, while Maryland Eastern Shore enters at number 5. North Carolina Central, Morgan State, and South Carolina State round out the bracket as 6 through 8, respectively. The All-MEAC Conference Awards will be announced on Thursday, November 21st, at the awards ceremony to begin the tournament festivities. The volleyball championship match is set for 8:30 p.m. on Sunday, November 24th, and will broadcast live on ESPNU for the second consecutive season. Cross country competed in the NCAA regional races this weekend. On the women's side, the Norfolk State Spartans finished 23rd in the Southeast Regional, led by freshman Yvonne Sandui, clocking a 6K time of 22 minutes, 49.5 seconds to finish 114th of 250 overall runners. The Howard Lady Bison finished 24th as a team at the Mid-Atlantic Regional, led by MEAC first place finisher Jocelyn Crosby, who ran the 6K in 21 minutes, 44.8 seconds to place 81st. In men's action, Norfolk State finished 12th as a team at the Southeast Regional behind Power 4 programs like UVA, North Carolina, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, NC State, Duke, and Kentucky, to name a few. Two-time first-place MEAC finisher Gideon Segay led the way with a 10K time of 30 minutes, 35 seconds. Segay placed 23rd overall to earn all-region honors, the first Spartan to do so since 2006. And North Carolina Central's Emmanuel Patafoot ran his second ever NCAA regional race, finishing with a time of 34 minutes, 6.6 seconds. In men's basketball, 3 teams went 2-0 on the week, with Delaware State, Howard, and Maryland Eastern Shore going undefeated. On the women's side, Howard went 1-0, while Coppin State, Norfolk State, and Delaware State faced off against Power 4 institutions such as South Carolina, Alabama, Ole Miss, and Virginia Tech throughout the week. And that concludes the weekly notes. At this time, joining me as co-host throughout the season is executive producer of the MEAC Digital Network, Mr. Lynn Thompson. Welcome, Lynn. Thank you for being here with us this morning, and let's talk some MEAC football.
Thank you, Elise. Always good to see you and be here with the media. Welcome, everybody, to our 13th and our final video conference of the 2024 season. We've got so much exciting information to share with you this morning, as this past weekend featured games with championship and potential postseason implications. And I know everybody is ready to dive in, so let's do this. Our first interview of the morning happens to be with the head coach of the Howard University Bison, Coach Larry Scott. I see you. Good morning, Coach Scott. How are you today? I think you might be on mute. Let's see.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Doing well, Coach. Doing well. Coach, this past Friday night, the Bison played a tough North Carolina Central Eagles squad on national TV, a big Friday night episode. Let's talk about this important, hard-hitting football game.
Yeah, I thought it was a heck of an environment for a Friday night game on the Friday Night Lights down there in North Carolina. Kind of a game of two halves for us. I thought it was a very competitive game, on the first half. And then things got away from us in the second half. Kudos to them. They did a really good job there in the second half. Made some good some adjustments and things like that. And the game got away from us. But that's kind of what you expect from, that kind of football game, competitive, physical game. But we fell on the short end of the stick, but they did a really good job, I thought, them and the coaching staff of the second half, and found a way to kind of get the game out of hand from us.
Coach, now as the season has shifted, we talked earlier through the season about the veterans on your team, and not a lot about the twos and the threes and the underclassmen on your roster. How do now, as you look forward, how do you begin to nurture these young men to build them up as the future of your program while giving credit to the young men who have built the culture of the Bison program?
I think just like what you said, Dylan, I think both things work at the same time, and they got to work together. For the young players in our program to understand what the foundation that these older players have laid for them, and some of the success we've been able to have, but to understand that they're in a different phase. And I think we need to represent them as best we can as we get into this last game of the season, and play hard for those guys, and lay it all on the line for those guys so that they can walk out of here with their heads held high, and the accomplishments that they've been able to accomplish, but leave the program better than they found it. And it's up to them, the young guys, to take a step forward and understand now that play for those guys. But now moving forward into January, February, off-season months, where the program is really, where your team is really built, that it'll be time to go to work, and it's going to work with a high level of a high standard, with high expectations that we expect around here to have. And so it kind of works together at the same time. They got an example of what it looks like, and then now it's time to, for the torch to be passed down to them, to continue to extend that legacy.
This weekend, you got a battle for the Beltway. I mean, you got the Bears, a rivalry game, a very good football team. They're smarting after a loss to South Carolina State, Coach, and you got to wrap up the season in grand style with the win. So what are you preaching to the Bison this week?
And so just what you said, it's finish. It's all about the finish. At the end of the day, this kind of in this business, it's a what have you done for me lately type of deal. And you want to make sure that as you go into the next 360 odd whatever days, that you're doing it on the right note, that you wrap it up with some positive momentum. You do it with a win. So then you can go attack the offseason the way you need to, with the right frame of mind, to continue building. So a lot hinges on, the positive momentum that you want to build as you move into the offseason. So obviously it is a rivalry game. It's right up the street. I think the last 2 years it's been, came down to one possession, at least last year here. And they are a very good football team, very good on the defensive side of the ball. Got some explosive playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. So definitely going to be a game that, will be competitive, and I think it'll be all 4 quarters.
Yeah, Coach, but all the best this week, and I know you're looking to take this game and look at it as a springboard into next year. So hang tough, and at least it's on you with the rest of the media questions.
All right, thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Scott come from James Hill.
Morning, Coach. I hope you and everybody in Washington are well. How are you, sir?
Doing as well as we can, James. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The battle of the Beltway, as it were, and the opportunity for the Bison to go out with a win. Just talk a little bit about the thought process of this rivalry, 38 miles in between both cities. This is special. It's a DMV thing, and all eyes will be on this particular game.
Yeah, I think these type of games are always fun. It's fun for the players. A lot of them play with each other. They know each other. They have relationships that extend off the field. So I think it's a healthy rivalry, a healthy competitive rivalry amongst these two teams. They're a really well coached football team that has been, continuously getting better. They're physical on defense, and like I said, they got some explosive playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. So anytime you get a chance to do this, it's fun. It's what college football is really all about at the end of the day. Or rivalry games, just kind of reminds you of a high school rivalry game or NFL rivalry game and those type of things. They're completely, healthy, but very competitive. And I think with us, the vicinity being so close, obviously the community gets involved from both the DC area and the Baltimore area. So to put it all together in one field and at the same time, I believe gives us an opportunity to wrap up things in a fun, environment, in an electric environment. I think that will be healthy and it'll be a lot of fun to wrap up the season. Hopefully we come out on the end of it that we want to, which is a win that can help propel us into the rest of, moving into the offseason and continuing to build the 25 team.
Coach, you have some great gentlemen on your ball club, Mr. Hawthorne and Mr. Gallup, and everybody wants to play on Sundays. But just talk a little bit about NFL opportunities for HBCU players, and in this case, Howard Bison's players and guys from the MEAC who have the skill sets and want to live their dream.
You just said it. I think it's deeper than just our team. Although I do believe we have some guys on our roster, some of the older guys that deserve an opportunity and should have an opportunity, if given an opportunity, will make those teams. We said the same thing about Ian Wheeler and those guys last year. They got opportunities and they were able to make rosters. So same thing goes for these guys. But it's a host of guys across this conference in the MEAC. When you turn on the tape and you're watching, a Norfolk State, you're watching South Carolina State, you're watching North Carolina Central. There's a lot of talent within this conference, and all these young men, I believe, deserve ample and the same opportunities that are given to other players at Power Fours or PWIs. Give the same opportunity, and if given those opportunities, I promise you, we'll turn a lot of heads and be able to make these NFL rosters and different things like that. And therefore, you'll continue to see more HBCU players, on that platform and on that stage, and giving those opportunities and capitalizing on those opportunities. So. I think it goes far past, the gentlemen we have on our team, which I think deserve opportunity, but there's a host of other players in this conference that deserve the same opportunities as well.
Coach, in closing, graduation is right around the corner. Gentlemen can earn a degree, which is a beautiful thing. And then the passing of the torch for the MEAC crown. South Carolina State University is looking forward, I would imagine, to heading to the ATL. But when you think about that, what goes through your mind?
Oh, man, first of all, congratulations to Coach Barry and his staff and the job they've done this year, putting that football team together. They're a really good football team, and I think everybody's starting to see that, how they're well coached. They play the game physical and fast on defense, and find a way each and every week to be explosive on offense. So congratulations to those guys, and I know they'll represent the MEAC in a great way. In that game, so start there. But I think that's the idea, right? That's where you want to be, and that's where you want to end up in the end. And it starts in January. So our mind is, right now is this on what we got to get done this week. We're not done with this season. We got to make sure we put ourselves in the best position we can to finish on a high note, and then we'll start immediately going into actually going after what that is, and that starts in January for all of us. And each football team every year takes on a new life of itself. And there's going to be different dynamics, different, traits, different people, and every team, no one team is the same. And so we're going to start to try to discover the identity of what the 25 football team will look like here at Howard, add pieces that we need to add through recruiting and all of those different things to put this roster together and put one together that's going to give us an opportunity to be sitting where South Carolina State is sitting this year and where we were a year ago. So definitely got some work to do. But we're excited about the future and excited about that work, ready to roll our sleeves up and get to it. But can't do that until we finish out this week. So the focus right now is on Morgan State and what we got to do today on Monday to put ourselves in position to win that game.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed week and continued success.
You do the same.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Chris Stevens, HBCU Sports.
Morning, Coach Scott. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. How are you?
Pretty good. You mentioned Morgan State. They obviously have a game changer and a game plan record on that front line in Elijah Williams. What do you see? What stands out for him when you watch the tape on him, and what do you hope to do to try to neutralize him on Saturday?
It is the third year in a row that zero in that same name keeps popping up for us. Each and every year, he's an issue. I think he's a talent. I think he's got a lot of ability, and he's a guy we've had a game plan for and around the past 3 years because he is capable of doing that. And one of our, matchup issues right now lies right there with him. And so we got to make sure that we, do a good job, as good enough job as we can of containing him. He's a talent. And I think he's another young man that deserves an opportunity to have an opportunity to play on that next level because I think he brings that, he brings that ability and he brings that skill set. So definitely a guy we got to be aware of and make sure we got a good plan for.
And obviously, this is not the way you wanted the season to end, but what do you hope that your returning players have learned about just how hard it is in this conference, even though it's only 6 teams, it's still very competitive every week, just how hard it is to repeat in this league?
Absolutely. I think you said a key word, learn. Because if you don't learn anything from what you just experienced, then, then we got a problem. And I think what our football team is realizing that on any given Saturday in this game, and if you talk about this conference, it definitely any given Saturday. What can happen, how good the football is in this league and how physical it is in this league, and how much talent actually lies within this league. Every week is a host of names and guys that you talk about that are explosive, that game records up front and those type of things. So I think we have a lot of respect for this league first and foremost. And we play some out of conference teams, and you can see the differences between some of the people that we play out of conference, and then when you get in the ball within conference, what the difference is. And I think, it's just a kudos to this league and where we lie, and the coaches that are in this league and the recruiting that goes on in this league. So, it's going to be very competitive and high end, and games are going to be close and they're going to be tight. And the more disciplined team, the more team that makes the least amount of mistakes, is going to always put themselves in position to win. And so at the end of the day, I hope that's what we learned, and we'll continue to build on this offseason with some of the young, talented players we have in the program right now.
Was, a little bit of, tempestuousness, after Friday's game. Just what do you think you guys as coaches can do to kind of mitigate that? Obviously it's a competitive environment, the heat is going to rise, but how do you want your guys to kind of sort of, keep their cool in that environment and just, kind of like let the, extracurricular stuff slide, during the game, before the game, after the game?
Chris, that's always a good question. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to talk about the competitive that lies between the white lines, right? Keep it about the game and the game only. And at the end of the day, you got to be, tip your hat, have class and all those things, whether you're on the winning side of it or the losing side of it. Have class, understand, and take it with, that you have to have a whole lot of sportsmanship in this business. If you want to be in football and continue to play football at this level, it's going to get high and it's going to be competitive. But at the same time, you got to understand there's class about who you are and what you represent, and always carry yourself in that fashion first and foremost. And if we can always talk about that and the character and the class that it takes to be, have the great sportsmanship that we all talk about that you need to have in order to continue to rise and elevate in this sport, that's what we got to keep at the forefront of it, no matter what end of the stick you lie on.
Thanks for your time as always this year, Coach Scott, and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Scott, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, Ty. How are you doing?
I'm good, Coach. I'm not sure if this has been mentioned yet, but you have a 6-game winning streak against Morgan State. What's been the talk about that?
And hasn't been any talk about that because every year is a different year. And I think at the end, you just enlightened me. I hadn't even followed it that close to be, know what the numbers were. Because I'm just concerned about the football team that I'm watching here on tape yesterday and today. That I'm going, man, this is a football team that is very capable of winning. Have played good football this year. Solid on defense. Same thing. They got guys that one touch away from making an explosive play in a game that could change the game. So I'm just concerned about this 24 Morgan State football team and what's going to happen on this Saturday. So I haven't been too concerned with those things, man. Just thinking about the team that they are now and what we got to do this week.
Well, I do know in 5 of the 6 years during that winning streak, your team has won the rushing battle and they have won the time of possession battle. So is that a key component that you'll be looking at this weekend as well?
Yeah, I think that's usually the formula for winning football, right? If you own the time of possession and you're running the football and running it with a high level of consistency and success, I think that's going to always put you, in position to win the game. So those are 2 very key components to playing winning football. So if we can get that done this week, we'll definitely give ourselves a heck of a chance.
And finally, Coach, if you could sum up the Howard season in one word this year, what would that be?
Inconsistent, very inconsistent. And working, and we got to work hard this year on understanding what, how hard it is to have a high level of consistency and focus and those type of things when we have some young guys in different spots, but hopefully another year of maturity and learning and growing in a full off season to continue to develop some of those foundational principles that, we talk about and want to have in our program will help with that. But we're kind of up and down, kind of inconsistent. Not consistent enough in putting 4 good quarters together of continuous complementary football. And so all those things would be things that we definitely go to work on and make sure we improve.
All right. Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Dwayne, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I know you're not necessarily paying attention to the streak that you have against Morgan State, and I understand that the season hasn't gone in the direction that you would like. However, you have a chance with this week, with a potential win this weekend, to win 5 games for the 3rd time in a row, and that streak hasn't been done in over a decade. Can you speak on the direction that you've taken this program in since you've become head coach there at Howard?
Dwayne, that's some awesome fact finding right there, my man. I don't get into all those stats. I guess I probably should, but I don't want the standard of winning 5 games to be the standard of excellence for what Howard is and can be. So at the end of the day, yeah, I mean that's winning is winning, but I want to have our standard be a little bit a lot more higher than just winning 5 games. And I know what it may be in the past and what history has been for the programs before we got here. However, our standard is going to be much higher than winning 5 games. But at the end of the day, it's you try to win every one of them. You want to go out and put yourself in position to win every one of these games every time you get a chance to, because that's what it is, and that's what we're built on, and that's what we'll continue to strive for. So at the end of the day, yeah, I want that standard to be a lot higher than just winning 5 games. But I appreciate you digging that one up. That's some good stuff, man. Maybe I'll call you on some of these other off-season quality control projects, man.
Well, I'm right around the corner, so yeah, if you need me, just give me a holler.
All right, for sure.
Also, I want to go ahead and finish on this question. Again, just like it was said earlier, this matchup is against Morgan State, right up the street in Baltimore. What does this game mean for you from your perspective as it pertains to recruiting in this area? We already know that Coach Wilson recruits in the DC area very heavily.
Oh yeah, and all those things are impacted, sometimes by the results of these games and those type of things. So one thing affects everything. So obviously we want to go out and we want to win the game, which will set up, probably a little bit better recruiting situation for you in the area. People like a winner, like to be associated with winning, and when you can do that, it definitely helps from a recruiting base, and it just helps from a momentum base. And we want to continue to build momentum in the DMV area with our recruiting, build momentum for our brand here as we continue to build and get better each and every year. Because we want to be a team that is competing for a championship every year. We want to continue to build championship people, and championship people win, championships. So we want to continue to develop, and any positive momentum that is a result of winning is always the best springboard into doing all of those things at the same time. So that's always ultimately the goal. But I do think that type of positive momentum of just winning and bragging rights for the next year and all those type of things work together at the same time. So it's definitely a game that impacts a lot from a standpoint of momentum.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this week in Baltimore.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And our next questions for Coach Scott come from Stephen Gaither.
Hey, Coach Scott. Hope you can hear me. I think it won't let me do the video. Yeah, Coach. Just first half, one of the bright spots for you were your special teams, some blocks, some block kicks, and just kind of really keeping you guys in the game there. Talk about the coach special teams under Coach Torrey Woodbury and kind of how they've worked out for you guys this season, especially in that first half.
Oh yeah, definitely a huge bright spot for us in the first half of the game. those type of plays, kept us in the game and kept the momentum from swinging, to the other side. I know one of them was a touchdown and a block extra point. Those are momentum plays, they keep, they just captured momentum with a score, and you block an extra point and talk about that all the time. You can retake the, momentum. And football is a game of momentum. So those plays impact the game from a momentum standpoint all the time, especially if a team has driven the ball down and here they go, they're going for points and it's blocked. Okay, the momentum just swung right back to you. So when you can create those plays and those game-changing plays, you talk about in special teams all the time, what play, you don't ever know what play is going to impact the game. And those plays, a lot of times just impacts the game from the standpoint of momentum and keeping points off the board, which are huge. And I think that's what kept giving us life in the first half. And Coach Woodbury has done a fantastic job in that area for us all year. We've kind of had some ups and downs, in certain areas, but these guys have bought into what it is that we want to do, bought into, the scheme and those type of things that we're doing. But more than anything else, it's just the mindset and attitude that comes with playing special teams and understanding just how special teams are. And in the overall dynamic of your football team, because they are those 25 to 28 plays a game could always impact the game. And it's a game of hidden yardage when we talk about field position and all those different things. So that was a bright spot for us. Definitely, it speaks to the character of our team and who they are. At times in those plays, you may think that they'll take a play off. No, we don't. We try not to teach that. We don't want that in our program. We don't want that to permeate anywhere within anything that we do. So to see that happen and guys believe and do their job and execute to a high level, kudos to them, kudos to the players, the team, the culture, and Coach Woodbury is doing a great job with that group.
And then lastly, I'll ask, the incident on Friday at the end of the game, you and Coach Oliver went out and shook hands like usual, and then things kind of went haywire. Obviously, they're going to do the investigation, but from your purview, it's kind of what sparked it. And, there was some concerns, I think, about parents as far as the gates and the guys not being able to get out. Were you concerned for the safety of the guys?
That, this platform today, Stephen, is about, football. This is the fight about the opponent, that the game you just played and the opponent you're getting ready to play. You just said it, the word investigation, and we'll leave that to the higher ups and people who are taking a look at all of this and making the decisions that they need to make. On the trust, that our conference is doing their due diligence and getting all the information, gathering all the information is going to make a decision that is best for all of us, because in the end, we don't want to see those incidents happen. That's not what this is all about. That's not what it is. And nothing that we want to be portrayed, as and all that type of thing. So I'm gonna leave that to the higher ups. And here on this platform, I just want to talk about football, which is what we're all here for.
Good. Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you, Steve.
And that is all the questions for Coach Scott at this time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Howard travels to take on Morgan State on Saturday, November 23rd in the regular season finale at Hughes Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. Lynn, over to you for our next interview.
Thank you so much, Elise. Up next, the head man in Durham, the head coach of the North Carolina Central Eagles, Coach Trey Oliver. Good morning to you, Coach Oliver. How are you today?
I'm well, Lynn. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. And last Friday night, national TV, your Eagles faced the Howard Bison under the Knights. Let's talk about this outstanding football game. You heard Coach Scott talk about it. Hard-fought game, good first half, and the Eagles just came out in the second half and walked away with it.
Yeah, first of all, let me address, if I could, obviously the altercation at the end of the game. I'm very disappointed and embarrassed about our involvement with it. There's no room for that. There's no reason to be fighting or anything like that. You have 60 minutes, and go ahead and play hard for 60 minutes. Compete, shake hands, and let's go ahead and be done with it. But we have an opportunity to play on national television and be able to display our brand to great universities, and I think a great conference. And I think that we let our university down, our conference down, and all of HBCU when we have an opportunity to play on national television. But I'm apologetic for whatever actions our guys had with the altercation, and we're going to support the university and the conference with the investigation of it. But again, you got 60 minutes. Let's play, let's compete, and then after the game's over with, let's shake hands. Coach Scott and I shook hands, competitive game, and it was over with. But I'm disappointed with that, and then we'll move on and we'll learn from it and grow. My 26 years of coaching, this is the first altercation we had like this. So we'll learn from it and move on. But as far as the game's concerned, I thought offensively we moved the ball well up and down the field, but had problems in the red zone. We'd been outstanding in the red zone all year, but Friday night we were 2 of 7. And, 2 of 7 makes it difficult. We're getting field goals blocked like we've never practiced it. We're fumbling down there in the red zone. So we left a bunch of points out there. Obviously, Jamari Taylor had a great day, and I think Walker Harris played well. Defense, I thought, played lights out. That was probably the best defensive performance we've had since I've been here. So when you can hold a team to 0 for 13 on third downs for the game, that's huge, and hold them to limited yards rushing. But all in all, I thought our guys played well. We played well enough to come out with the win, and we will work to get better this week and get ready to go up to take on Delaware State.
Okay, Coach. And the second question is, a championship caliber football team, that's what you've built. That's the standard in Durham. And now you got to turn your attention not only to this weekend, but the quest for postseason play and that large bid to the NCAA playoffs. Coach, how do you keep your team focused going into this last game and building the resume and continuing to build that for postseason play?
Right. And that was our goal coming into the season. Obviously, we want to win championships, but the big goal is always postseason play. So we have an opportunity to reach our goals. We have to go up here and play really well against Delaware State. And, you lose this one, obviously, we're definitely not going to the playoffs. So we have to be able to go up here and put on a good show and be able to try to pull out a win with probably one of the hardest places in the conference to play. It's going to be cold and windy up there, and that's one of the tougher places to play on the road. So, we got to go up here and play well.
Yeah, and from Delaware State's standpoint, Coach, they're looking for a building block win now. And so how do you talk to your Eagles and say, look, they are looking for a ball game like this to place a stamp on?
Right, and that's what it's all about. And I think Coach Scott alluded to it. You want momentum going into the off season, and everybody wants a 11-0, 12-0 record, but at the end of the time, you need to be trending in the right direction. You need some momentum going into the off season. So we know they're going to be hungry. Coach O's going to have them guys ready to play, and I'm sure it's going to be senior day up there, and they're going to be trying to come out, get a win for their seniors in the last game of the year. So we've got to go up there and be ready to roll. We cannot sleep or take anybody for granted because they haven't had this, the record that they've wanted this season. So we got to go up there and give them our best shot.
Okay, Coach, that's it for me. Hang on for a minute. Elisa's going to come on with the rest of the questions.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Oliver come from Stephen Gaither.
Hey, Coach, I wasn't aware that I had raised my hand again. It might still be up from the last time. But yeah, Jamari Taylor. We've seen what he could do all year. But talk about what he did in the second half the other night. It seems like he kind of took over the game once he got rolling. Whole different ball game from the first half.
Yeah, I thought our coaches did a great job with the game plan and try to attack him. Howard has done a good job with their rush defense, and they got that kid back there, Gallup, man, number 0. So the game plan was trying to stay away from him, and because he can affect the game. So we, with some formations and some motions, we were trying to stay away from Gallup because he's an outstanding football player and doesn't miss many tackles. So we were able to create some holes up front and get Jamari loose on the perimeter, and he had a big day. But I think our offensive line played much better in the second half than he did in the first half, and our receivers I thought did a really good job of blocking on the perimeter. So it was a team effort offensively, and I was really pleased with how we were able to move the ball.
And then lastly, I'll ask, the last drive of the game is pretty much over, but you guys continue to try to score. Is it now, as you're trying to get to the playoffs, is that kind of what's pushing you guys to try to, make that case? And how much does that matter? You guys have been right there in the postseason last year. So how much does that matter? And was that kind of the thought process behind the, really trying to push it at the end?
well, we're going to play for 60 minutes. And I don't know if you paid attention, but we had our second team offensive line and our 2 receivers in there. So, we had backups in the game. And these guys need quality reps. We still have more football to play. And for you to be able to get your freshman and sophomore offensive linemen reps in a game like that, meaningful reps, that's how you develop guys. So, again, I could have called timeout within 20 seconds or whatever to keep trying to run plays, but we weren't doing that. Yes, we were trying to move the ball down the field. Yes, definitely. But again, you look who was in the game. So I got to get my guys prepared, and not for next week, but for the future. So, yeah, we're going to play for 60 minutes.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Yep.
Our next questions for Coach Oliver come from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, how you doing, sir?
I'm well, James. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. The holistic approach, whereas you have young men, you're a leader of men, and they're getting an education, they're winning MEAC titles, and over a period of years, they're getting an education, they're playing games, they're learning what to do, what not to do. Just talk a little bit about moving forward with this group, and they can still be very successful.
Right, and that's our deal here is we call it culture over scheme. And it's not about the scheme that you're running, throwing the ball, running the ball, and all that stuff, 3 down to 4 down, zone man to man. It's about the culture you have in the building. And we always try to pride ourselves on doing things the right way and the way we move and act and walk and talk in the building. So that's, as far as us trying to develop men. We've had quite a bit of success around here. And, it's good to see these young men grow. And what's surprising is we're still very, very young. We only had 11 seniors on the team. So the majority of our team will be back next year, and hopefully we can continue the success that we've had.
Coach, the MEAC brand of football, extremely successful, Celebration Bowl, but just talk a little bit about your last game, and again, it's played at a high level and it's not for everybody.
Right. Look, I mean, you look at the teams in our conference, and it's all, we week 11, and it's a dogfight. It's still coming down to the wire. Congratulations to Coach Barry in South Carolina State. They're the champs this year. But, it's so much really, really quality football, quality coaches in this league. And, you're going to have to come to work every week. And, that's why it's a joy to watch these guys. And when you're breaking down film, it doesn't get easy. And you watch who Delaware State's players, they again, their record's not where they want it to be, but they got some football players. But, you saw it Friday night, 2 championship teams. Howard won it last year, and we had success prior to. So, it's fun to compete. And I, love the competitive spirit of our conference and our league.
Coach, in closing, within the next month, these gentlemen, some of them will have an education. They'll walk across the stage, shake hands, and get a degree. Just talk little bit about that part of it. And that's a beautiful thing because they can move forward in life knowing that they have something they can use.
That's it. When you come to college and you're able to leave college with a national championship ring and a degree, it doesn't get much better, man. So these guys will have memories for a lifetime. And, obviously when you put yourself in position to be able to get a degree, you have so many more options, and the sky's the limit. So these guys will be able to, have families and be able to provide for their families. And they're better leaving than they were when they got here.
Thank you, Coach. Continued success.
Yeah, thank you, James.
Our next questions for Coach Oliver come from Chris Stevens, HBCU Sports.
Good morning, Coach Oliver. How are you?
Good morning, Chris.
Obviously, this isn't the way you wanted the season to, conclude. Obviously, as you said, you still have some football left to play and something else to play for. But just what did you think your returning guys learned about obviously you've been adamant about how good the MEAC is, from the opening luncheon to now. Just what do you think, what do you hope those guys have learned just how hard it is to compete in this league, even though there's only 6 teams in the league at the moment?
Yeah, we talk about being a pro around here, and you can't wait till your senior year to be a pro and try to play professionally. You can't wait till the last week before exams to try to study and pass an exam. So when you're a pro, it's how you move and how you prepare yourself day in and day out in every aspect of your life. So, that's the big thing. We've got to be prepared and ready to roll every week, regardless of who we're playing. And you see that when we played South Carolina State, we weren't ready to roll when we came out the locker room. We were down, I think, 3 scores early in the first half. And, we had to fight like heck to try to get back in that game. And we gave ourselves an opportunity to get back in it, but we came up a little short. So you got to be ready to roll whenever your name or number is called, and to give yourself an opportunity. But tough conference, very competitive, and I enjoy it.
Obviously, you're going up to a team, like you said, that record doesn't indicate the level of talent and competitiveness that Delaware State has, but it's almost like you're going to see a mirror image on the other side of the ball with Jaden Sutton at running back. He's got a 1,000-yard season under his belt like Mr. Taylor does. Just what do you see that on the tape that jumps out about him, and what you guys are going to try to do to try to contain him on Saturday?
He's a big physical human being. I mean, and that can run. I think he's about 6'1", 220, 218, 220. Good feet, good vision, and runs behind his pads. So, and once he gets out, he can hold you off and make the long run. So we've got to do a great job of getting halves of the ball. First and foremost, being sound, gap sound, and being where we're supposed to be. But we got to be able to get halves of the ball and stay out of one-on-one situations. Sometimes you got guys that can make you miss, or you got some guys that can punish you and run you over. And he's one of those. So we've got to spend a little bit more time in the weight room trying to get them traps and shoulders right, because it's gonna be a physical football game, trying to stop their running attack.
Last question from me. Obviously, it's out of your hands at this point what the FCS committee does, but are you confident that your guys are going to have a fair shot in that room this coming Sunday?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a fair shot. We had a fair shot when we started the season 0-0. So, you win, you won't have these problems. But we had one terrible loss to Elon early in the season. And, that's going to be the one that they're going to look at. So we've had success throughout the season. We lost to Carolina, and we lost to a top 25 South Carolina State team. But we did have one bad non-conference loss. And I said going in at the beginning of the season, I said over and over, for you to be able to make it to the playoffs, you have to have these big non-conference wins. I think we had 3 non-conference wins this year. But we'll see what the committee says. But do I think we'll get a fair shot? Definitely.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time as always this year. Best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Our next questions for Coach Scott come from Donald Ware.
Oh, good morning. Good morning. How you doing, Coach?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Can you sort of state, I think a couple of years ago we saw where FAMU did not make the playoff as an HBCU. I think FAM may have had 8 wins. Can you state the case as to, provided you win, of course, next week, as to why the Eagles should make the playoffs, or has that case already been stated?
I have not stated the case. We try to, it's a resume. We try to put it out there every week when we play. I think if you look at our overall body of work, not just this year, but the last 2 or 3 years, we've been a competitive football team. We've been a consistent football team. If you look at our stats as far as scoring and red zone and different areas, I think that we showed that we are a competitive football team, and I think that we're worthy to be in the playoffs. But we got to sit back. It's not in our hands. We don't control our destiny. So we have to put on a good show this weekend, and try to, our last statement, try to show these people that we are playoff worthy.
And then also, is there a reason you didn't have a 12th? There's a 2-part question. A reason you didn't have a 12th game? Do you think either not having 12 games or possibly 9 wins could go against you in terms of possibly making the playoffs?
Well, if you look, there's a lot of 3 teams that have 3 losses. And, a couple got 4 losses that are still in top 25. So we will see. But that's a great question. When the conference lost those schools, the Hampton and A&T and Bethune-Cookman and Florida A&M, we had to try to fill the holes in our schedule. And it's really hard to schedule people when you have dates late in like October. Everybody's in the conference, playing conference games, late September, definitely October. So it's hard to find teams that you can, fit in your schedule. So we were lucky to get 11 games. We still trying to finalize games next year for next year's schedule. But when you have open dates in October, everybody's in conference play. So I don't know how you're supposed to find games, but have been in touch with Grambling. I know Grambling has a date open, and there's a couple other schools. So we would love to try to work something out with Grambling, home and home, or a couple other schools. So anybody out there would love the game. So any SCS school that's looking for one in October, we got 2 dates open next year.
And then last thought, it's been many, many years, but it seemed like, and this was a different scenario, but when Bethune-Cookman was in the conference, it was able to schedule a game against, during the season, against Nebraska. It's been many, many years ago. Is that something that not you maybe necessarily, but administration, et cetera, tried to maybe do, try to schedule a game during one of your off weeks?
Yeah, we tried. But again, everybody's full. You know, we go through a company, a service to try to help us find games, and there's everybody's open dates. And did you say Nebraska?
Yeah, I believe that's what happened. Bethune-Cookman was able to schedule a game during the season. This was many, many years ago.
All right, we played Carolina early in the season, so we had our FBS team. I'm not playing 2 FBS teams. No.
Yeah, no, not necessarily scheduling an FBS team, just any team. But you've answered that. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
We'll schedule during the season. I mean, if we can add another game, we'll add another game. But it's really difficult scheduling games late in the season.
Okay. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Our next questions for Coach Oliver come from Dwayne Nash.
Morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm well. How you doing, Dwayne?
I'm doing pretty good. You kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, the recent success that your team has had. And I don't know if you necessarily paid attention to this, but win or lose this week, you have, this program will have its best 3-year stretch in terms of record since the last time you were there at North Carolina Central as an assistant. Can you speak on the development and the progression of your program over the last 3 years since you've been there?
Yeah, it starts with recruiting. And I think you find guys that fit your program. You can't get caught up in who's offered who, and I want to take him because this school has offered him, or however many stars he has. First and foremost, does he fit your program? Secondly, athletically, is he a guy that can come in and help you, athletically? And from there, it's about development. And I think that's one thing that we do a really good job is developing our guys once they get here. We've had several guys, unfortunately, got in the portal and having a whole lot of success at other FBS programs. So we do a really good job of developing our guys here. It starts with strength and conditioning with Thomas Carroll and his staff, and then developing young men. We have a player development program here. I think we do a really good job with that, with being out in the community and doing community service. So holistic approach, socially, athletically, and academically is, the areas that we really try to focus on with our guys. But it starts with recruiting and getting the right people in the building.
Now, you talk about development. I was there in Richmond last year for the playoff game. And correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, you said that it was something that your organization was not ready for in terms of participating in the playoffs as of last year. Can you talk about what you have learned from that participation last year for the potential of you playing in the playoffs, to get you prepared for the potential of playing in the playoffs again in the next couple of weeks?
I don't remember that quote about me saying we weren't prepared. I think athletically and everything else, we can bang with a lot of schools in FCS. My concern last year was my approach with my football team. Okay. We came in and our number one goal is Celebration Bowl, Celebration Bowl, Celebration Bowl. And I think that kind of took a little bit of wind out of our sail when we weren't going to the Celebration Bowl. Then we had to try to refocus within the last 2-3 weeks of the season and get ready for the playoffs. So I think a lot of our guys were really disappointed about not going to the Celebration Bowl. So like I said at the beginning of this year, our goal is postseason play. We want to go undefeated in conference and go to Celebration Bowl. That's the number one goal. But we can't lose a great season because we have one loss. So again, this year we have one loss in conference, but we still have an opportunity to go to playoffs. So our guys now have shifted and they understand we have opportunity and what's at stake. So I don't have to try to get their attention within a week or two to try to get them prepared to play in a playoff game. These guys will be ready if we get that opportunity.
Okay, Coach. I didn't want you to think that I thought that your team was unprepared physically. I was there. I saw it, and you guys were most definitely competitive there against Richmond. That's what it was. It was more so the mind state and the late change in terms of the direction of the team. But thanks again, Coach. Good luck this week in Dover.
Yep, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Our next questions for Coach Oliver come from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Oliver, how are you?
I'm well, Ty. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. I know your journey's not over this year yet. You've got possibly 2 more games to go. But I would like to get you to sum up your season in just one word and describe it.
Disappointing. Disappointing. It's about championships. We want to win championships. And it's good to get, have 8, 9 win seasons and all that stuff. We still want to cut down the nets and win championship rings. I'm still proud of the team, and I think that we've accomplished a lot. When you have an opportunity to win 7, 8 games, that's, a solid season. But at the end of the day, it's about winning championships, and that's what we want to do. So we did come up a little bit short with that. But, our other goal was playoffs. So we do want to try, have opportunity to make it to playoffs. And I think we have a lot to be proud of with that. But, the goal is the goal, man. It's about championships.
Okay. Well, Coach, thank you much. And if you do make the playoffs, that's still possible. So good luck.
Yep, thanks.
That is all of our media questions for Coach Oliver at this time. Coach, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
North Carolina Central will face Delaware State on Saturday, November 23rd at Alumni Stadium in Dover, Delaware. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m., airing on ESPN+. Lynn, over to you for our next interview.
Thank you so much, Elise. Up next, Lee Hall, the head coach of Delaware State University. I see you, Coach. How are you today? I think you're on mute, Coach. There you
Sorry
are.
about that. How are you?
I'm doing good, Coach. Last week, good first half. Very, very competitive, Coach. It's the same script, though, that you've been talking about, teaching your young Hornet football team how to close out and finish. 38-19. The Hornets lose at Norfolk State. Coach, let's talk about the football game as you teach them how to secure a win.
Yeah, it was a great football game for the first half. We were up 13-10 at halftime. I thought we played a great first half. Where we kind of got away from us and lost the game was coming out at halftime. I thought they were prepared. They were pumped up coming at half. They had just kicked the field goal to bring it in within the 3, just before the half. So we knew it was going to be important for us they were getting the ball first, and it was going to be important for us to have a strong start. So they got the ball, we stopped them, but then we go down there and fumble and put our defense in a bad position, and they score, and then 2 plays later, we throw an interception, put our defense in a bad position, and they end up scoring again. So that's kind of where we lost it. But one thing I will say is they kept fighting. Even though we were down, they kept fighting and played for 60 minutes. If you look at the stat sheet, in most every category, we were ahead. We just had those 2 turnovers right there that killed us. But we got a young team, and they're playing hard. They made some young mistakes. Especially on defense, they hit us with a couple double moves, and our eyes were just kind of bad. But they were freshmen. So they're learning. We just got to get better this week and keep grinding and keep preparing. But like I said, I like where we are. As a team, as a program. It's just going to take some time. To get these young guys to focus for 60 minutes.
Coach, every head coach in the league says the same thing about your program. It's coming. You can see it coming. Most of them have been in your position before. And as you head into this last game, despite your record, what goals have you been able to attain for this team and this program at this point?
Yeah, our goal right now is to finish strong. Obviously, we know North Carolina Central has a lot to play for. It was the same. We're in the same scenario last year against them. They're have opportunity to go to FCS playoffs. So we got to be prepared. So I want to finish the right way to try to go out in for the off season and be in the right frame of mind and go out on a high note. But the goal for this game is, again, to play a complete game for 60 minutes, not to have those 5-minute lulls where we lose focus, and that's all we did in that third quarter is lose focus. So the biggest goal is to concentrate for 60 minutes. The effort is there. They haven't quit, so we got a lot of positives to work on, but that's the biggest thing. Like I said, I know Central has a lot to play for, just like last year. So we got to have our A game and we got to be ready to go.
Coach, as you return home for this finale, I guess it would be senior day and so many other emotional moments for many of your ball players who really bought into your philosophy, and they are really putting the building blocks into establishing the culture, the whole culture of Hornet football. You got to say thank you to some of those guys, but more importantly, this is an opportunity for them to leave something tangible for the underclassmen. So what are you expecting from this matchup from your team and from North Carolina Central?
Yeah, so it is senior day, and you're right. This morning I met with every one of the seniors, all 12 of them that are walking on Saturday, and personally thanked them for their commitment for the last 2 years, because they could have easily walked away, transferred, things weren't going their way, but they committed to me, and they believed in the vision that I had for this program. Obviously did not work out the way we thought. No one thought after the first 2 games that we would be in this position, but they stuck it out, and I personally thanked them and told them I love them from the bottom of my heart, that they could easily, like I said, gave up on us. So it's important for me to go out the right way, and that's our theme. It's senior day. Play for the seniors, play for your teammates. If you think you can't do it, look over at one of those seniors, and they put 4 or 5. Some of them been here 6 years. And pour their heart out and soul for this program, and for you, as a younger player, to try to leave a legacy or leave a standard for you, because culture does matter. And there's these guys that are going out is an example of what a Hornet is supposed to be, a Hornet man, and I'm very proud of them. So like I said, I know Coach Oliver will have his team prepared because they got an opportunity to go to the playoffs. So we just got to prepare. It's going to be a physical football game. They got a great offense, great quarterback, great running back. So they can run the ball, they can throw the ball. They got great receivers. So defensively, we got our work cut out for us. We got to have all 11 to the hats and see if we can get some turnovers. They don't turn the ball over. Some 3 and outs and all those things. And defensively, you saw what they did against Howard. A very good offense, limited to, I guess it was 7 points there. So we know that they're going to come and they're going to fly around. They're very physical. They're linebackers, especially 54, come and hit you. And, they got a big D line and they're athletic in the secondary. So we're going to have our work cut out for us. But I look for our young team to be up for the challenge.
Okay, Coach. Well, good luck as you celebrate those 12 young men who committed to your program. Elise, you got it.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Hull come from James Hill.
Hey, Coach, I hope you and everybody at Delaware State are well. How are you, sir?
I'm good. Thanks. How are you, James?
I'm blessed. To be a coach at a HBCU at the Delaware State University, what's it like to have a major impact on young men's lives? And a lot of times they don't realize it now, but they can look back and see what you were able to do for them as we look at some of the coaches in our lives. But talk about being that coach.
Yeah, that's why I became a coach. That's why you should be coaching, to have an impact on young men's lives, to see them grow, from when they come in at 17, 18, and some of them now, we got guys who are 23 years old, that have been here for 6 years, and the impact that you make on their lives. Like I said, I met with every single one of the seniors that are walking, told them how important they were to me personally, and I appreciate them, and also the impact that they had on my life and in this program, and hopefully that I made an impact on their lives. And anything that they need, in the future, that I'm here for them, and that's what we're here for, to mold these guys and to be good husbands, good fathers, go out, be good citizens. It's more than just football X and O's and W's and L's. And I know sometimes, that's not the case with other people outside the program. They look at the wins and losses, but it's what, the impact that you have on these guys' lives and seeing them grow, as a person, but also, academically, we do a lot, and also we do a lot of community service stuff. So it just trying to make a holistic approach and showing them there's more to life than just football, and hopefully they take some of this life lessons and they like you said, they probably won't realize it until after, they become a father, all right, they get a job, they won't realize it, and then they'll come back and 10, 15 years from now and say, hey, coach, you were right, I appreciate it.
Coach, to see these young men participate in their last football game in some cases, and then get a degree and go into the holidays, how beautiful is that? Just to see that experience.
It's why I do the job. That's why I coach. And coach at HBCU too. To be able to have that effect on young Black men's lives. I was just talking to one of our players today. His cousin just got murdered on Saturday. So I had him in the office. So just letting him know that we're here for him, anything that he needs, and just the impact. And I know he appreciated us and everything that we're trying to do to help him and his family. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm a head coach. That's why I'm a head coach at an HBCU, and it's my second stint of at a different HBCU. But it's important. It's important to give back to our community.
Coach, in closing, the last MEAC game of the season, what are your thoughts going in, and obviously what would you like to see? I know a W. What would you like to see in the game?
Yeah, a W would be great, but again, I want us to finish the right way. Go out, and send these seniors out so they can be proud, that they played at Delaware State. And what does that mean? Play together, play hard for 60 minutes, execute, leave it all on the line. We got an off season, so what are you waiting for, right? What else? There's no more games. So this is the last game. Put it all on the line. Execute, show progress that we got better from the beginning of the year to the last game of the year. And we got a young team, and those guys just stick together, playing hard for 60 minutes and making a commitment. Hey, don't look at the scoreboard, right? We're going to put blinders on for 60 minutes, and we're just going to grind that out. And then after when the last whistle blows, the score is the score, and hopefully we're on top at the end.
Thank you, sir. Have a great week. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Hall come from Chris Stevens, HBCU Sports.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good. How are you, Chris?
Pretty good. Obviously, it's a team game, but when you look at Jaden Sutton, having 1,000 yards rushing, being near the top of the conference in that regard, just what does it say about not just his, physicality and patience in the whole, but the fact that this young offensive line that you're building is being able to create such a wide gap for him to get to the 1,000-yard mark?
Yeah, I mean, I know people look at our record, but there's a lot of positives to this season. And when you look at Jaden is a perfect example of the positive, and also, like you said, the young offensive line that we have. There's a lot of positives in this season, and a lot to build on for the future. We got a sound base foundation to grow on. But Jaden, glad we had him. Gills gets hurt early in the season. As out for the season, everybody was expecting him to be the feature guy, and it would have been great to have two feature guys that on, to two-headed attack monster there, but we didn't, and Jaden had to carry the load, and him being a big physical guy, like you say, he's like 6'1", 225, and got some speed. He's got patience. He's got good vision. And then when he sees it, he can accelerate through the hole. Runs with his behind his pads. And he can make you miss and stuff. So I'm for me, he's the best back in the league. For as far as I'm concerned, and I know, there's other great backs. South Carolina State got a great running back, and North Carolina Central's got a great running back. Howard's got two great running backs. So it's a running league, and you got to have a great running back in this league.
Speaking of this league, just the competitiveness. I mean, everybody's been in every game this year for the most part. Just and obviously you won this league as a head coach, a while back, but just what do you make of the MEAC in 2024 is just, how do you feel about the competitive nature of it? And what do you hope your team learns from that heading into 2025?
Yeah, it's a competitive league, and every team is good. And on any given day, Saturday or Friday, Thursday, whatever they're playing on, any team can win. And that's a great thing about this league. It's very competitive. And you got to come to play every single game. You got to prepare every single day. There's no days off. There's no Saturdays off that you can take and say, hey, we can just walk through this game. That's because we got great coaches. Every team has a great coach, and they have their teams prepared to win. So to be in football games is because of these young freshmen and sophomores that we're playing with, and it's all good experience. You got to be in these games to learn how to win these football games, and they're getting practical experience, on the job training, if you want to say it that way. So hopefully that bodes well for us in the future and for next year.
And this last on-the-job assignment is a doozy. I mean, it's North
Carolina.
Oh, yeah,
it is.
It's North Carolina Central. They're coming in hopeful for an FCS playoff spot. There's so much on that team that you probably have to game plan for. But what do you think is going to be the primary focus, when you guys game plan for Central this week?
Really, it's about us. It's about the Hornets. We know, like I said, offensively, they got good running back, good receivers, great quarterback. Defensively, they're physical up front. They got good athletic sets in the secondary. So we have to execute and do our jobs. So the biggest thing is for us is to worry about the Hornets, preparing the right way, come in the right frame of mind, execute for 60 minutes, do not have that 5-minute lull where the game gets away from you. So that's the biggest thing for us is worrying about us and how we prepare this week, knowing that the type of opponent that we have, and we saw what happened last year. If you go, and you play this team that has a lot to play for, and in the FCS playoffs to go back, and I know Coach Oliver wants to get back there and represent HBCU, the MEAC, the right way. So, but at the end of the day, it's our job to try to win this football game. And I think the way we do it is concentrate on us and not worrying about what they're trying to do, but what we're trying to do and what we need to do.
Thanks for your time as always, Coach. Best of luck this weekend. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris.
Our next questions for Coach Hull come from Andy Walter.
Hey, Coach, how are you?
Good. How you doing, Andy?
All right. Hey, I know you're focused on this week, but just, with the off season coming up, what are maybe a couple big things that you really need to get better at to improve the win-loss record?
Yeah, I think it's about us and building the program right, getting the culture right, becoming closer as a team. I mean, we are close as a team, but in the off season, that's where you build that camaraderie, so guys can play for each other, understanding that. And I think that's where we got to get, we got a young team. We got to get bigger and stronger, because that's one thing you can see that on on the field. It's not the ability, it's not athleticism or anything that way. We're playing against older guys. So the weight room, the offseason is going to be important, and just becoming closer as a team, because the talent's there. Now we got to work harder in the offseason. Got to get healthy. That's going to be one thing too. We got a lot of injuries, getting guys back so they can, as soon as possible, so they can get into winning condition. They can get into the weight room and get bigger and stronger, as a young team, because again, we're playing with 17, 18, 19-year-olds, and playing against guys who are 22, 23, sometimes 24. So they're naturally going to be bigger and stronger. But I like where we're at, and I think that's where we just got to work on us in the offseason.
All right. Our next questions for Coach Hull will come from Dwayne Nash.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Dwayne?
I'm doing pretty good. I want to go ahead and touch on Jaden Sutton for a moment here. I know you guys have a tough game this weekend against North Carolina Central. However, Jaden looks to be one of the 3 running backs in HBCU football that will have over 1,000 yards. I see our friend Luke Williams is on the call right now. I want you to go ahead and make your case for Jaden Sutton to win and potentially become the first running back to win the Deacon Jones Trophy since Tariq Cohen did it in 2016.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was up for that, but that's a great honor. But again, he's a big, strong, physical back that can make you miss, that can take it the distance at any time. If you look at him, he's carried the load. He's played every down, so he's an every down back. He doesn't come out when it's third down. So he's good at pass protection. He also can catch the ball out of the backfield. But the biggest thing, he's a 3-point plus. I think he's like a 3.5 student academically. He does a lot of community service. He's feeding the homeless. He's working with the Boys and Girls Club. He does a lot. He's just a great kid, great human being. So you're not going to find a better person to represent the trophy, athletically, but also as a person and things that he does in the community.
Thanks so much, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
All right.
And our next questions for Coach Hull come from Ty Miller.
Hi, Coach Hull. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, Ty?
Hey, despite losing your last 9 games and winning just 1 so far this season, what positive word can you give us to sum up your season?
What positive word?
Yes.
Encouragement.
Okay.
I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged. About the future. Because we're playing with such a young team and they have not given up. They played hard for 60 minutes. You can see it. You can see that even no matter what the score is, they're still playing hard. So I'm encouraged. So if you want to say that, one word would be, encouraged.
And Coach, we've seen other teams rise up and beat other teams unexpectedly this season. Case in point, this past weekend, Mississippi Valley State went down to Florida A&M and upset the Rattlers. Unexpectedly, they had not won a game all season. With that being the case, what kind of message will you give your team prior to kickoff of the game this weekend?
Yeah, just believe in yourself that you can get it done, because there's a lot of evidence, like you just said, Mississippi Valley State beat Florida A&M. So it can be done. So the message is, let's send our seniors out and on a winning note. Let's everybody come together and play for 60 minutes and let's go get this one, because it can be done. And history has shown it, and as early as last week.
All right. Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, thank you.
That concludes all of our media questions for Coach Hull at this time. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Delaware State hosts North Carolina Central in the season finale on Saturday, November 23rd at Alumni Stadium in Dover, Delaware. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m., airing on ESPN+. Lynn, over to you for our next interview.
Thank you so much, Elise. Our next interview of the morning happens to be with the head man in charge of the Norfolk State University Spartans, Coach Dawson Odums. Coach Odums, how are you today?
Doing great. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, Coach. The Spartans turned a 13-10 halftime deficit into a convincing 38-19 win over Delaware State. Talk about it.
Well, tale of two halves. I thought the first half we left some opportunities out there, but the seniors, it was senior day here in Norfolk, and the guys really played well. And it was also great to see them go out with a W. I thought coming out of halftime, we knew the mission. We knew what we had to do, and the guys they took the coaching. Wasn't a whole lot of negative things said at halftime. It was simple. Just let's go do simple better. Let's trust our process. Go 1-0, and what does that look like? Let's make some adjustments. Let's do what we got to do to win a football game. And this football team, and I said it once we started the stretch run, they're gonna be a tough out. They continue to get better and better, and they're playing really well. And the second half showed how much growth we taken in our program, and hopefully we can finish this thing off by going 1-0.
Okay. All right. So how does last week's win help this team's mindset as you now prepare to go into the final game of the year to Orangeburg, to the newly crowned champions, but with a chance now, not as a 500 team in conference play at 2-2, but a chance to leave Orangeburg at 3-2 in MEAC play?
Well, shoot, Chennis Barry's done a great job, man. And congrats to him and his staff and his football program. He's done a tremendous job. When you watch them play, they're very talented. They're well coached. They play kind of similar to how we play. Try to do things at a high impact with great discipline, and that's just a testament to his leadership and what he's done with his program. So it'd be a fun day. I know it'd be senior day for those guys, and you always want your seniors to go out, but we have a lot to play for, and our guys will get prepared. And we started the year with the preseason representatives of the SWAC, last year's Celebration Bowl champs, and we get a chance to end the year with facing against 2024 MEAC champs in Celebration Bowl opportunity for them. So we'll see how much growth our program is take. We'll see what we stack up, and we're looking forward to the challenge. Should be a fun day and great opportunity for us to show the growth in our program.
Final question for me, Coach. With an emotional advantage for you now, going on the road, having experienced your senior day, but with a chance now to finish the year at 3-2 with the winning MEAC conference record and a winning streak, is that more important and an opportunity to overcome what South Carolina State is experiencing at home with senior day?
Well, I thought anytime you get a chance to finish your last game tasting a victory is a good momentum going into the offseason. It gives you an opportunity to first of all see where your program stacks up against this year's best in our conference. And other than North Carolina Central, they really haven't been in a close ball game in conference play. So that goes to show you how explosive they can be. They're very talented, and we know it's going to be a major challenge, but that's why you play the game. And we're looking forward to that challenge. Coach Barry has a very talented football team, and they play very well in all three phases. So well put together. So we know what we got to defend. We know what we got to take advantage of. We got to execute, and we got to do it at a high level. We got to do it for 60 minutes and beyond because this football team is a very good football team, and we think we got a good football team. We'll see how well we play.
Okay, Coach, all the best as you wrap up the year in Orangeburg. Elise?
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Odums come from James Hill.
Coach, how are you?
Great. How are you, sir?
I'm pretty good. Your second half, scoring 28 points. Can you talk about that and just how good that was for the players on your ball club to show some scoring and get it done?
Well, I think we got it rolling, and coming out of halftime, this game is about momentum, and once you create momentum, it can snowball, and if it's not on your side, you got to figure out how to break momentum and figure out how to get it back on your side. I thought once the second half started, we created some momentum. That's a very, very hard working and challenging Dale State football team. Coach Hole guys, they play hard, man. And we knew that going in that they was going to play hard, regardless of their record. They're going to compete. They do it for 60 minutes. And, when you're done, you go across the field and congratulate each other, and you get off the field, because I respect how those guys play. And I also respect where he's at in his process, because we're sort of in the same boat, just trying to figure out how you continue to get better each and every week. And it was a challenge, but I thought coming out of halftime, our guys accepted the challenge and played really well. And it was exciting to see us respond in the second half.
Coach, how do you motivate a ball club where mathematically it's already pretty much determined, but you can win and have some success? But what do you tell a ball club when they have an opportunity to go on the road and play one last game and play very well?
Well, I think the motivation comes from within your culture of your program, and just understanding that if you've seen us throughout the year, we're going to compete. And this is another opportunity for us to compete. And until we run out of opportunities, then we'll look forward to what's next. But right now, we got an opportunity to compete on Saturday, and you get a chance to compete against the best. So why not bring your best and see where you stack up and get yourself ready to play? And I think we're going to do that as a staff and as a program. Our guys going to play hard, and they're going to play well. That's what we expect, and that's what we get prepared to do. And we always say, preparation is what creates a good performance. And our guys are ready to see if we can go 1-0.
Coach, the gentlemen in your program, some of them will earn a degree within the next few weeks. But just talk a little bit about that and how beautiful that is, because you've recruited some guys, they've come in, they've taken care of business, and now they get an education.
Well, to me, that's your purpose for going to school. I think you got to create a culture where young men can capitalize on that purpose. And fulfilling your purpose is something that we like to see as coaches, and I'm quite sure the parents are going to be ecstatic in their communities, and we get better. Like I told our seniors that are departing this program, you left this program better than when you entered, and our world get better when you depart. So we're grateful for these young men and their time, as you have a chance with the way the transfer portal is. The seniors that we inherited those guys in 21 for the most part. Those guys endured and stuck around, and it's great to see those guys already earned their degrees. Most of them will leave out of here with master's degrees. So we're excited for them in the future, and we know our world get better because we're sending the world better men, better husbands, and better fathers.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate you. Have a blessed week.
Thank you. You do the same.
Our next questions for Coach Odums come from Chris Stevens, HBCU Sports.
Good morning, Coach Odums. How are you?
I'm great, sir. Good morning to you.
Obviously, it's already been talked about, the second half, you guys came out gangbusters against Delaware State. And now you got to turn your attention to a South Carolina State team that has already clinched the MEAC, but still it's their senior day, so they want to go out right. Just what's the message that you're trying to convey to these guys, not just your seniors that, had their own successful senior day, but the young men that are going to be returning with you to 2025?
Well, our message haven't changed, and the mission is still the same. We try to win and go 1-0. It doesn't matter the platform, doesn't matter the day of the week. That's who we are. And our guys understand we got one more opportunity to try to go 1-0. And we don't deviate from that. We trust the process. We understand where we are in that process. We understood the amount of time that it was going to take. Where, like I tell them, we're not turning over a 5-pound plate. We're turning over a plate that weighed about a ton. So, but we're slowly chipping away at that ton and getting it down to a weight that we can flip. And I think you're starting to see that by how we play, how we represent this institution, by what we do on and off the field. It's a lot that goes into it. And I'm happy to see that our guys are or reached a plateau where they understand what 1-0 really means. And as long as we got opportunities to compete, we're going to do it at a high level. That's our message. Let's get ready to go play. We know they're going to represent the MEAC, and let's go see what we stack up against them. And let's go get ready to play really, really well. And let's finish off the season the way we would like to finish it off, and that's tasting the W by going 1-0.
Speaking of the MEAC, this conference, it kind of gets left out of the shuffle when people talk about FCS conferences. But even though there's only 6 football playing members, there's never an off week. Just what do you hope these guys have learned about the competitiveness of this conference and what it'll take for them to, be at a level of a South Carolina State or North Carolina Central come next season?
Well, it's just a matter of taking it each and every year is a different. One thing we haven't had since I've been in this conference, you haven't had a repeated champion. And it's tough. It's tough when you got 5 opportunities. I tell people that all the time. If you only had 5 days to win the lottery, it would be tough to win it. So the way you look at it is you got to survive. You got to survive your non-conference schedule. You can't begin to talk about your conference schedule until you can survive, man. Them 7 non-conference games is so important to your survival mode, because you may go through a part of your season where you're beat up and banged up, and that may trickle down to your conference play. And that's what's challenging for all of us, is how we survive that. And when you look at how the schedule is stacked up, we play 8 games in a row, and that injury bug hit us, about around game 3 and lasted all the way to about game 6. So you start looking at it and you start saying, okay, when we get to conference play, where are we? Now, when we played Morgan, I was talking to Coach Wilson. The injury bug hit them. So it's like, it's tough because you're playing so many different levels of competition, non-conference. And once you get to conference play, it's all about survival. And when you look at the survival, South Carolina State has been able to probably stay as healthy as anybody. When you look at their offense, defense, and special teams week in and week out, you see some of the same guys going out there every week. Where you look at other teams, you see different old linemen, you see, different receivers because of injuries. So that's the biggest part. I think once we get to conference play, whoever you got to go play. But it's that non-conference schedule that takes a beating on your program.
Thanks for your time this year, Coach. As always, greatly appreciate you, and best of luck this weekend.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Odums come from Stephen Gaither.
Hey, Coach Odums, how you doing?
Doing great, Steve. How you doing?
Doing great. So obviously, South Carolina State this week, they're MEAC champs. Very familiar with Coach Barry. Just walk us through your relationship with him, how he ended up with your staff previously at Southern, and then just kind of talk about what he's brought to the league in his first year.
Well, it's just that winning culture. We've known each other for a long time. We actually were assistant coaches together at North Carolina A&T, and Coach Barry is going to represent the coaching profession the right way. He's going to represent South Carolina State the right way. He's going to do it the right way. Our programs are so similar. What we say to our programs is going to be similar. How we run our programs is going to be similar. What we expect in our programs is going to be similar. So he's done an outstanding job, and he's going to continue to do a great job, because the process is the process. Once you fall in love with it, we had a lot of success. He's got it flipped over a lot sooner at his place. And I really think that when he brought his guys over from Benedict, it allowed that process to be taught, because you got guys that understand it. And when you're taking over a program like we are, it's just getting those guys in here that understands and believe and buy into that process. It takes a little bit longer, but we're gaining on it, and we're a lot closer. And our first senior class will be seniors next year. So we're looking forward to the process really taking off. But he's done a fantastic job, and we friends off the field. We know each other kids, and I mean, it's just great. We were together for a long time and had a lot of success. And I couldn't be more proud of him and some other guys that he have as assistants, Kevin King, Connor Loper. I've known those guys. They were with me also. And then you also have Jonathan Williams, who was a competitor against us up at Grambling. So he's got some really good young men on his staff, and he's done a really great job of putting those guys together. And when you can leave one school and go to another and bring pretty much the majority of your staff and some of your players, you have a chance to create a culture right away. And testament to him and getting that culture to buy in with his new culture and getting those guys that he kept at South Carolina State. So can't be more proud of him, man. It's great to see him doing well.
And then lastly, I'll ask, obviously, we talk about sportsmanship and kind of, competitive fires. As a coach, is there ever a time where, you feel like you got to maybe pull your team back, or do you believe that it's always a handshake line, kind of where do you fall in regards to that?
Well, I mean, I think I'm a step ahead of the game. So usually when we finish a game, I bring our team in. I bring everybody up on the sideline. And if that game is a heated game and, emotions are high, I'll send my team to the locker room. If I feel like emotions are down and both teams got level heads, we'll go across the field and shake hands. But I'm usually in front. When the game's over, I don't condone just our guys taking off and running and celebrating, and, especially towards their sideline. So we usually come together and we put our helmets on, we shake hands, and, that's just how it is. I don't condone all that other nonsense. But at the end of the day, I think you can see it. When you see our football team, I don't deal with the emotion. We always say it's good to have emotion, but don't become emotional. And our guys understand that. So I think when you do that, you got a chance to play a competitive football game, and everybody get a chance to shake hands, and you walk off the field. So that's how we do things here at Norfolk State.
Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck this week.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Our next questions for Coach Odums come from Ty Miller.
Hi, Coach Odums. Good morning to you. How you doing?
Good morning, Mr. Miller. How you doing?
I'm good, Coach. I've been asking all morning for coaches to sum up their season. And I know you have one more game left, but I'd like you to give us a word to talk about or to sum up what your description of the 2024 Spartans would be.
Well, probably injuries. That's the biggest thing that we've had to overcome, injuries at the wrong time. So, but I think once we overcame the injuries, we started playing more consistent football. And that's what we was looking for at the beginning of the season. How can we be consistent? And we're starting to pick up on that. The first half we didn't play as well as we would like starting that game, but we picked it up, and that's growth in our program. So I think when you look at us this year, you can see that we've been in pretty much every football game with chances to win, and we lost some really, really close football games. And that's the testament of where we are and the growth that's taking place. And we're going to have to continue to do that if we want to have any kind of taste of victory come Saturday.
Also, Coach, this might be a bit of a hypothetical, but there has been some talk about other conferences going to a round-robin schedule. And being that the MEAC has only 6 teams, would that be something that you would be open to or have given thought to?
Open schedule? Or
no, round-robin schedule, like each team playing each other twice.
Oh, no, we not. I don't know about playing each other twice. That's a little difficult, especially when we only got 5. So, but I haven't heard about that. That hasn't been brought to the table or to my attention. But that'd be difficult. That'd be very difficult. And we play some hard competitive football games, and to play them twice, you're going to beat that team up. So, but I think there are some scheduling challenges, but I think our conference is aware and doing an adequate job of making sure that we try to close that gap. And I think that's the biggest thing is how can we close that gap? Because when you look at the non-conference schedule, as I alluded to earlier, it's not just who you play, it's the close proximity of where those schools are and how far you got to travel, and whether it's home, whether it's away, how many away games in a row you got to play, where you got to go. And, all that takes a wear and tear on your football team. So I know that our commissioner does a great job in his tackiness and also Her and her associates are doing a great job of trying to figure out how we can cut down on this non-conference schedule. So how many teams we got to play. So we're very appreciative of their hard work and their dedication to trying to get us where we need to be as it relates to a conference.
All right. Thank you, Coach, and good luck this weekend and good luck in your off season.
Always a pleasure. Thank you. Behold.
That concludes all the media questions at this time. For Coach Odums, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Behold, the green and gold.
Norfolk State travels to South Carolina State on Saturday, November 23rd at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m., airing on ESPN+. Lynn, back over to you for our next interview.
Our next interview of the day happens to be with the head coach of the South Carolina State University Bulldogs. You see him right there with that big block S on his chest. Coach Chennis Barry, how are you this morning? It's a good day to be calling in from Orangeburg, South Carolina, isn't it?
Morning, Lynn. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, Coach. Doing good. Congratulations on securing the 2024 title last week in a big road win over Morgan State. Coach, let's talk about that championship football game.
Well, to God be the glory, man. Found a way to win a football game. Winning is hard. I say it all the time, but I don't take it for granted because winning is hard. You know, we played against a good Morgan State University football team. Coach Wilson's always going to have his team ready to go. But our young men, they had it on their mind. They knew what was at stake, and they came and played extremely well in all three phases. I thought we did some really good things. We knew that Morgan State was going to be competitive, and they were going to play stingy defense. They had some explosive guys offensively, and they did a good job on the kicking game. So we knew that we had to have our preparation had to be in order to make sure our young men had an opportunity to seize and smell victory, man. And they went up and played well, man. And, you know, we faced some adversity in that game as well. But, you know, that's when you find out what kind of football team you have when adversity strikes. Who are you when adversity strikes? And our young men found a way to beat a really good football team up in Baltimore, Maryland.
Coach, this is a tremendous feat for this team and for the Barry era in Orangeburg in year one. Now, let's talk about the emotions for you and your program as you hoisted up that trophy.
Oh, it was great. It was great. You know, really. And I tell my players this all the time. For me, obviously, winning is important. So if winning wasn't important, we wouldn't keep score. But we always talk about the process more than we talk about the outcome. And I tell them if they continue to just fall in love with the process of going 1-0 every day, when it gets to game day, the outcome will take care of itself. And, you know, but for me, it was a sweet. It was awesome because obviously Coach Pugh was there in attendance as well. He actually traveled with us on that road trip and, you know, ultimately to be able to find a way because, you know, the reality is Coach Pugh believed in me, man. And you know, when a guy like that who's done so many great things, man, believed in me and really wanted to see me be the guy to take over a program that he loves so deeply and dearly, you know, it just brings joy to my heart to be able to do that, man. But our players, grateful for them, man, because they work so hard, man. These guys, they put a lot of work in. We're very demanding on the expectation of what we want. And expectation is just to give your best. Your best is the standard in this program. And these young men give their best, not only on the field, but they do it in the classroom. They represent our program on the field, off the field, in the community, man. So I'm just grateful for them all, especially those seniors that's been through it all. You know, they've been in the Celebration Bowl. They've had some years where they weren't, you know, the record wasn't as good as they would like it to be, but to see them have opportunity on their last go-round to be able to go out as champions, it just brings joy to my heart. But we do also know that there's more ball to play. You know, I'm a guy that always say that we got 24 hours to enjoy it, but I really never get 24, man. I usually get about 4 or 5, and then my mind goes to the next opponent. So I know we have a good Norfolk State University football team, well-coached football team. Coach Dawson Odums, man, gonna have his team ready to go. So our philosophy don't change. It's fall in love with the process, going 1-on every day, and we will be prepared for a good team that's gonna be coming up here to Orangeburg, South Carolina, this upcoming Saturday.
Coach, you heard Coach Odom talk about the similarities in the program and the similarities in the men. You guys know each other so well. You work together. Your philosophies are similar. But the Bulldogs return home this weekend to close out the regular season against the Spartans. talk about this matchup. Talk about the celebration that will ensue as you send off those seniors, and what happens Saturday, and then immediately after Saturday, what happens as you prepare for the national championship game.
Well, we know we got to finish the drill. That's been our whole, mindset, since I had the team meeting on yesterday. It's just, it's an obligation for us to finish the drill. Everything is in front of us, but we have to make sure that we do it the right way. And how we finish games is important. How we finish practice is important. We have the kind of finish mindset, but like you say, Coach Odums and I have a relationship. We work together. Prior to us working at Southern University for 7 years, we also worked together at A&T as well. So I've been knowing Coach Odums for a long time, and I know he's going to have a disciplined, well-coached football team ready to go. So, it's my job to make sure that these Bulldogs are ready to rock and roll, and we will be. We'll be ready to go, man. But, we have some seniors, man, that will be, playing their last game at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium, Willie E. Jeffries Field, and it's important that we go out the right way. We know what's ahead of us, down the line, but it's November. And we always talk about being, playing good ball in September, hitting your strides in October so we can make it in November to remember. And we're in November. So, our young men will be ready to go. Like I say, we had great practice meetings yesterday. This is their day off today. We as a coaching staff, we're in the lab putting plans together just to put our young men in a situation to be successful, and that's what it is at the end of the day. We want to, put our young men, come up with plans to be able to put our young men in a situation to be successful. And I'm sure we'll be able to have a plan as we get ready for a good Norfolk State University football.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Again, this concludes my question, but get ready because I'm sure Elise has them lined up for you from the media.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Barry come from James Hill.
Coach, how are you, sir?
Morning, James. How you doing today?
I'm blessed. Can you talk about the congratulations, by the way, on the MEAC crown? Can you talk about, yes, sir, the process, that journey? Everybody wants to get to the top of the mountain, so to speak, the king of the hill. But it's that journey, that the steps you take to become a two-time national champion, to come in and follow great coaches and put a team on that field and a winning product. Talk about the process to go from a HBCU player all the way up to where you are now, the process that you're molding with this ball club.
It's just we talk about just, every day, man. It's process, like you say, over outcome. And that's those mundane things that nobody wants to do. You just got to be consistently good at doing them every day. We all want greatness, right? But, all we ask our young men just to be consistently good every day and just be the best you can be. And that is the process when you look at it. We never talk about the outcome here. We never, ever talk about the outcome. All we just talk about is being the best we can be, going to class, sitting in the first 3 rows, making sure that when we do things the right way, practice the right way, be a good teammate, be a good brother, be a good son. Those that are fathers, be good fathers. Whatever it is, just be the best you can be in. And just don't be weary in well-doing, because in due season, you will reap if you just don't give up. That's Galatians 6:9. So, we live those principles. In our program, we talk about our process is dig deep. Dig deep. We know in life, adversity is going to strike. It's going to strike in the game of football as well. So dig deep is a philosophy we go by. And that first D is discipline. It's an acronym for dig deep. It's discipline, integrity, God, dedication, effort, execution, pride. We talk it every day. And young men are starting to live that. And it's about establishing a culture that they believe in. You got to get buy-in. You got to get buy-in from players. You got to get buy-in from coaches. You got to get buy-in from everybody that touches your program, your filmers, your trainers, your managers. It's got to be buy-in. And it takes a village to raise a child, and it takes a village to build a program. So again, we're just in our 11th month of doing it, and we're still putting it together, and we're not done yet. But we know we have to finish the drill. We have to finish the journey, and the journey's not over. You know, we had a staff meeting this morning. I just talked to our staff about understanding that this journey that we're on is not over yet. So make sure that we do it the right way and finish the right way. But our young men are bought into it all. Great attitudes, great leadership, and we battled some adversity. You know, people on the outside don't really know the adversity we've gone through, but that's not important. It's important for us to understand that we went through some adversity this year. But all in all, you know, our young men are believing and they're buying into what we're all about and the culture that we're building here at South Carolina State.
Coach, the health and strength and just the mentality going into senior day. Obviously, the Spartans will be there, and it will be an emotional episode of college football. Can you share?
You went to a mute. I'm sorry. You were asking, then you went mute, and now you're back.
Okay. Can you share your thoughts on what we can expect on Saturday?
Well, you know, it's senior day, and we have quite a few young men that's been in this program that have paved the way and set the foundation in this program. So it's important that we send them out the right way. So, you know, when you got a good, well-coached football team that's coming up here hungry, you know, you got to make sure your young men are prepared. You know, but I always go back to our leadership, man. I meet with what I call our leadership council every Monday, and we'll meet this evening just for about, 45 minutes and just chop it up about, the program and the state of the program and the pulse of the team. But I do know with those young men that we have, they really, really believe and are bought in, and they want to go out the right way. And we've been through this thing, like I say, for about 11 months. But we want to make sure that they go out the right way and do things the right way. And those group of seniors that we have, it's going to be emotional for them. Like I say, because they get the opportunity to play their last home game here at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium, Willie E. Jeffries Field, man. So we want to make sure that we send them out the right way.
Coach, in closing, Eric Phoenix and your offensive side of the football, can you just share any thoughts on those gentlemen? And ultimately, we will see them in Atlanta.
Well, our guys, they believe, man. It starts with the big guys up front. Anybody that knows me, I have an O-line background, and you got to make sure that those guys are gelling and playing as one. When you look at it, it's 5 individuals, but they have to play as one all the time. And they're doing some good things, and they're hitting their strides at the right time. We probably had one of our better days offensively the whole entire season in terms of running the football this past week. So that's always a goal of ours. And our quarterback is playing well. I mean, he's talented. I mean, before he went out, those that watched the game, obviously he went out in the first quarter and he never came back. And he probably could have came back in the game, but our young man Ryan Stubblefield, our 2 guy, he came in, and as you saw, he was moving the offense, up and down the field. So we really believe in our 2 guy. We prepare our 2 guy like he's the 1 guy, because we always tell him you're 1 play away from having to be the guy. So you have to prepare like a starter every day. So we're grateful for Ryan Stubblefield and the efforts that he did in helping to lead us to victory. But our running back room is playing good ball. Those that don't know, we battled a lot of injuries as well. And our starter has been out the last couple of weeks, DeAndre Duhart. And so we had the next man up mindset, and those guys, Tyler Smith and KZ Adams, those guys stepped up, as well as Demetri Simmons, man. They really ran the ball well this past week, and they protected well. And it's self-explanatory when you talk about our wideouts, man. Our wideouts are special. They're quick, they're fast, they're explosive. They have great ball skills. I mean, they make plays, whether it's in the short game, the medium game, or the deep game. So, we're grateful for them. And if you watch us this past week, our tight end, he actually led our team in receiving, our tight end, Keyshawn Toney. So, we like where we are offensively. I think, we still hadn't played our best ball yet offensively, to be honest. I tell them all the time, I'm very demanding on our offense, and we hadn't played our best ball at all, and we're grateful that our defense is playing so well, because our defense is playing lights out right now, and our special teams are really winning the field position battle. So when you have a strong defense, things are definitely headed your way in your favor when you play a good ball on defense.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations. And we look forward to covering you and seeing how this thing plays out. Have a blessed day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hill. You have a great day.
Our next questions for Coach Barry come from Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
Hello, Chris. How you doing today, man?
Pretty good. Obviously, the saying "standing on the shoulders of giants" goes without saying in this program. There's only been 4 head coaches in the last 50 years, but with you clinching on Saturday, all 4 have won MEAC championships now. Just talk about what that means to be able to uphold the pride and the tradition of what is the MEAC signature football program down there in Orangeburg.
Man, those guys, like you say, those are giants, man, and it's coaching profession. Me as I'm going to use the term seasoned coach now, because I don't think I'm an old coach. I'm just a little more seasoned now. When I came up through the HBCU ranks, those are the guys I watched, the Willie Jeffries, man, the Oliver Buddy Pugh, man, and then Bill Davis, who recruited me to the institution I went to, and now to know that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants of these guys that, paved the way at this program. It means a lot to me, man. It really does. And I'm grateful to have 2 of those gentlemen still around. I still spend time with Coach Pugh, obviously, often, but I see Coach Jeffries every week. We speak at a touchdown club here in Orangeburg every week. And just to listen to those guys with the wisdom, and trust me, I'm a listener. When I am a talker, I make sure that I listen to people that have paved the way. And, I'm just grateful to have those guys still around. And, it definitely brings joy to my heart to know that I'm in an institution of greatness, man. You talk about South Carolina State, they've been winning football games for a long time. I'm just grateful to be a part of it now and to be the leader and the new head football coach here at South Carolina State.
Going back to Saturday, you did say that Eric could return. That's a good sign. But Ryan Stubblefield played a tremendous game. He had 2 of the best throws I've probably seen from a quarterback all year long. Just how exciting was it for you to get him to have? Obviously you don't want your quarterback number QB1 to be hurt, but just how exciting was it for you to see him have his moment in the sun? Throwing those 2 touchdown passes and then of course running for 1 as well.
And listen, man, Ryan Stubblefield is special. He really is. I told him before he went out there, I said, son, you're going to be fine. Just do what you do. Do what you do every day. That's that process we talk about. You don't have to worry about the outcome at the end. Just be who you be every day in practice. We get him reps. Obviously, he don't take the same amount of reps as the starter, but he gets his reps. But we want to make sure you maximize your reps. Grateful that Ryan Stubblefield was able to continue to move our offense. And he's a dynamic guy as well. He has great arm talent. Amazing arm talent. And he's an amazing runner as well, So we're just grateful to be able to have him in the program. And he just stays ready. I always tell him, man, listen, man, you 1 play away. So you have to prepare like a starter. We're just grateful, again, to have him in the program. So when our QB1 does go down, we have another guy to be able to move the offense the same way, because the standard is the standard. We expect to move the offense however way we're asking you to move it, but you have to do it the way we're asking you to do it. And I'm grateful that we have Ryan Stubblefield to be able to do that.
Last question for me. Obviously, you've still got 1 game to play from a MEAC perspective. It's going to be senior day, so it's going to be emotional. You guys are going to get the hero's welcome after what happened last weekend. But just what is the main message that you want this team to listen to you? Obviously they listen to you all the time. Obviously you wouldn't have success if they didn't listen to you. But what do you want to put in this team's mind heading into this coming Saturday?
Finish the drill. Everything in this program is about finish, man. It's about the process. And the process is we have 1 more regular season game to play. And guess what? Against a really good football team that's been in every game this year. I know the pedigree of the football team that's coming in. I know the head coach. I know the defense coordinator. I know the tight end coach. I know guys on that staff. I know that they're going to have their team ready to play. So because I know that, I have to make sure that my team's ready to play. So our coordinators are locked in, our players are locked in, and we'll play well, man, because they understand what's at stake. But at the end of the day, there's work still to be done. We're still a part of the journey. The journey that we're on is not over yet. So trust and believe the South Carolina State University Bulldogs will be ready to play when that ball kicks off at 1:30 this upcoming Saturday.
Coach Barry, thanks for your time this year. It's always greatly appreciated, and congratulations. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you, Chris. I really appreciate you, man. God bless you.
Our next questions for Coach Barry come from Daryl Duvall.
Coach, I just want to say, first of all, I want to say congratulations on going to the Celebration next month. You had a real good season. But I just got my quick question is, obviously, Coach Pugh made a good transition decision on bringing you in. Now, how, in the 11 months that you've been there, how the transition has been pretty good on the kids. How is it? Can you just kind of talk about the transition of from Coach Pugh to where you are, you coming in and your coaching style, and obviously the kids are building onto that and they're hearing that message.
Well, obviously, Coach Pugh had a lot of success here, but unfortunately, I wasn't here with him, so I really don't know. You know, I was at other schools, so I really don't know, you know, when he was here. But obviously, he had a lot of success, man. I think Coach Pugh won about 9 of those championships. So, you know, I listen to Coach Pugh all the time, man. That's my guy. So we talk quite often, and you know, obviously the wisdom that he's poured into me, and I'm grateful for it. I'm just grateful to be able to run my own race now, man. That's one thing about Coach Pugh, man. He doesn't like just jump in the way. He's around and as a resource if I need him. But man, Coach Pugh has been awesome, man. But like I say, I wasn't here a part of his journey, but I do know that he had a lot of success. And you know, I used to bring my staff down here to visit him and his staff, and you know, his teams through spring ball. But you know, it's my opportunity to run my own race, man. But I'm just grateful to be able to have him as a resource to be able to go to if I need information and I need help.
Well, Coach, I just want to say congratulations on getting to the Cricket Bowl, and good luck this weekend. I know it's going to be a hard game playing against a friend of yours. All of them are your friends, and look forward to seeing you in Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. God bless you.
Our next questions for Coach Barry come from Stephen Gaither.
Good morning, Coach Pugh. How you doing?
I'm Coach Barry, man. Coach Pugh here, man. That's my guy, man. But
I know
Chennis Barry, man.
It was at the front of the head, head, not the heart. Chris took all my questions. That's also why I'm fumbling. But no, seriously, you talked about at the MEAC media day.
You're breaking up a little bit, man. Breaking up a little bit.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
So you talked about want to know. That's your thing, obviously, and you've gotten here. But just talk about back at the MEAC Media Day, you talked about getting to Atlanta. And a lot of people outside of your program kind of stopped at it because this is a conference not a lot of first-year coaches win. Just talk about, you know, how you guys were able to really take that 1-0 and drive you all the way to here.
Well, Stephen, I don't recall ever really talking about getting to Atlanta, to be honest. We don't really
wants to get to Atlanta. You said,
well, I'm sure. I mean, that's the ultimate mission of you know, now with the creation of the obviously they had the Heritage Bowl back in the day, and now they have the Celebration Bowl. But really, we talk about it at the beginning of the year. Our very first team meeting, we had a big PowerPoint presentation, and on that PowerPoint presentation, it said begin with the end in mind. All right, that's a book written by Stephen Covey. Is talking about just, you know, 7 laws of success, highly successful people. It talks about begin with the end in mind, and that's the only time we talk about it. At the very first team meeting, and we never talk about it again. We always just talk about the process, man. I mean, we really do. You know, obviously, Nick Saban talks about the process all the time, and people kind of coined it, but I really, really believe in that, honestly, because you know, we all want the end goal, right? We all want to win championships. We all want to win games. We all go into a season, we're all 0-0, and we just say that we want the end goal, you know, but we don't talk about it once we start it. It's a book that we read as a football program called Chop Wood, Carry Water by Jonathan Metcalf, and it just talks about falling in love with the process of becoming great, man, and surrendering the outcome. And that really, and it's not just coaches speak, it's really how we believe in this program. Surrender the outcome, because if you take care of the little mundane things that nobody wants to do every day, victory will find you. And so, you know, that's really how we look at it, honestly, and that's kind of how we've carried it the whole season. That's why I say, even now, you know, everybody's talking about December, and we know that's coming. We're grateful to be in a position to know that's coming, but we know the journey is still not over yet. And when you got a good football team like Norfolk State coming in here, if you watch them, man, they can run the football. They play really good defense. You know, they do some really good things. So we got to make sure all that doesn't matter down the line. We got to make sure we fall in love with the process of trying to go 1-0 this week.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thank you, Steve. Have a good day, man.
And our next questions for Coach Barry come from Ty Miller.
Hey, good morning, Coach Barry. How are you?
How you doing, Mr. Miller? You doing okay today?
I'm fine. You just mentioned to Stephen about the accolades of Norfolk State. And for your Bulldogs, they will be the Celebration Bowl for the Spartans this weekend, I'm sure. So if you're coach, what do you think Coach Odums will be telling his team prior to kickoff?
You were breaking up a little bit, but I heard you a little bit. Can you repeat that question, please, sir?
Well, I'm saying that you will be the Celebration Bowl for Norfolk State this weekend, basically, because it's a championship game for them. What will Coach Odums be saying to his team in your estimation before kickoff? Still can't hear me.
Well, yeah, I can hear you a little bit, but I hear you enough. What will Coach Odums be saying to his team? I work with Coach Odums, so you got to think about it. I spent a lot of years with that guy. You know, he's going to make sure his team's ready to go. And honestly, he's not looking at it like his Celebration Bowl. He's just trying to go 1-0. You know, that's all he's going to be telling them. You know, find a way. You're going to get 60 minutes. You know, when you get your 60 minutes, you got full control of the 60 minutes that you have. You know, he's going to tell them, man, you guys got your own, you know, you got your pen. You got a chance to write your own story. When the game over, they're going to write about the game, all right? You have full control of what they're going to say about the game. You know, I pretty much know the guy, you know, and I know what he's going to be telling. But, you know, he's an intense guy as well. So he's going to make sure his team's ready to go. So it's my job. I can't really worry about what Coach Odums is doing with his team because I got to get 107 human beings ready to go play football. And I'll make sure that these guys that represent South Carolina State University will be ready to go when that ball kicks off this upcoming Saturday. And
about those 107 players you have, Coach, the walk-ons, how important have they been to the success of your team this year?
Oh, man, they're huge. They're huge. I tell them, man, from whether you're the top guy on the team to the guy that's at the bottom of the depth chart, you are so important to this process because the preparation that we have to put in every day, those guys are part of the journey as well. So, you know, walk-ons to me, for me, man, it's about the best player. We have some walk-ons starting, you know. At one of the institutions I worked at years ago, man, the all-time leading rusher in the history of the SWAC, all right, is Leonard Tillery. Well, guess what? He was a walk-on for us at Southern University, you know. So for me, it's not about whether you're a scholarship player or walk-on. We're about providing opportunities and that now urgency of now mindset. That's no opportunity wasted. And one thing about us, man, we'll give you a chance. You know, what you do with that opportunity is going to be completely up to you. So, you know, our young men, our walk-ons do a great job because they're part of our football team. They're part of our program, and we treat them like royalty because we know that they're out there, you know, giving their all just like the starters and the scholarship guys are doing the same.
And, Coach, can you give me one word to sum up your season, although you have 2 more games left? What one word would describe the 2024 South Carolina State Bulldogs?
We're extremely blessed, man. To be honest, man, you know, I'm you know, I believe that we're a physical football team. I do believe that, but all in all, man, we're blessed, man. I mean, just to be able to come in and do it, you know, how we've been able to do it, it's extremely important. But the comradeship that we've come together, because you think about when you built this thing, man, when I first took it over, you had guys that were currently here. Okay, then you had some guys that we bought in, you know, you had to put it all together. So when you put things all together from different backgrounds and things of that nature, it takes culture, you know, creating culture. So these are young men that are bought in. So I would say all in all, it's the comradeship more than anything when you look at our football team.
All right. Thank you, Coach Barry. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
That is all the media questions we have for Coach Barry at this time. Coach, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day. Go Dogs.
South Carolina State returns home to host Norfolk State on Saturday, November 23rd at Oliver C. Dawson Stadium in Orangeburg, South Carolina. Kickoff is set for 1:30 p.m., broadcasting on ESPN+. Lynn, back over to you for our next interview.
Thank you so much, Elise. Our final interview of the day happens to be with the head coach of the Morgan State University Bears, Coach Damon Wilson. Good morning to you, Coach Wilson.
Good morning, Lynn. How are you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good. The Bears faced a very challenging South Carolina State team in a championship game environment on your campus. As you assess the game, I want you to give us your vantage point, because for the first time in a long time, you had the Bears in a championship game environment.
Yeah, we were there in the environment, but we didn't play well, and South Carolina State played extremely well. That's a very good football team Coach Barry has, and our guys were not ready for the opportunity, if that makes sense. And I thought we had a great week of practice, but we didn't execute at all, pretty much in offensive, defensively, and special teams. And that's something that we talked about yesterday. Being not only just being prepared, but taking advantage of those situations and opportunities. And it goes to show the job that Coach Barry has done. He brought a championship pedigree in from Benedict to South Carolina State, which already has won a number of championships, and those guys gel pretty quickly. And that's why those guys are hitting on all cylinders, And so we're trying to get our program to that level, and we're still in that process right now. But we didn't play well, and they played extremely well.
Okay, Coach, but process-wise, your 5 wins this season is the most for the program since 2013. Can you talk about the growth now? And you've talked about it several times during the course of the year. You even talked about it in the preseason shows. The growth of the program during your 3 years at the helm, in light of the fact that this past Saturday, you really played for a piece of the MEAC title.
Yeah, we're going in the right direction. Not where I want to be all in all, but we hit it in the right direction. We've battled through a number of things this year, but we don't make excuses. We got the next man has to be ready to play and take advantage of his opportunities. It's winning 5 games, 6 games. Our goal is to win each game each week, and at the end of the day, have ourselves an opportunity to play in December. And unfortunately, we're not there yet. But we're still building, and I'm excited about it. And I'm excited about the guys that we have in the program, the guys that will be graduating this next month, and the guys that we'll bring into the program. But we're still in the middle of that process right now.
You earlier in the show, we talked to several coaches who talked about closing with momentum. You closed the season by hosting Howard this week. This is a rivalry matchup, the battle for the Beltway. How do you convince the Bears that you got to close the right way by earning 6 wins and using that to catapult you into recruiting and to the 25 season with the right amount of momentum?
If I have to convince them at this time, then I got the wrong guys in the locker room. So I think the seniors and the guys that we have in place, they understand the importance of the game as the next game up opportunity to end the season on a winning note, give these finish 500. All of those things are at stake. Send the seniors out the right way, and those guys understand it. So I look forward to those guys being prepared to play on Saturday.
Okay, Coach, that's it for me. Elise has some questions from the media for you. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. As a reminder to the media, please use the raise hand feature and remain muted until you've been introduced. Our first questions for Coach Wilson come from Chris Stevens.
Good morning, Coach. How are you?
I'm good, Chris. How about yourself, bro?
Pretty good. Obviously, as Lynn alluded to, you guys want to end this season on a positive note and with momentum. But, just what do you, looking back on the last 11 or 12 weeks, do you think, maybe a bounce of the ball this way or an injury that didn't happen this way could have altered the momentum? Or is it just, one of those things where, you chalk it up to experience and then, move on to the next?
I mean, you could always look at the back of the season and say, hey, the ball bounced this way, or this guy wasn't injured, this or that would have happened. But at the end of the day, we had 11 guys on the field. We had an opportunity to win in those games. And whether we played well or didn't play well, that was totally up to our guys on the field and us as a staff on those particular days. So we can't go back and change anything that's been done. The biggest thing is to learn from those situations and make sure that we now have reference points. So when those deals come up again, we'll be prepared for them. And I think that's the biggest thing when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds are reference points. So you can always go back, whether it's good or bad, go back to it and pull from it. So you won't make them same mistake twice. And you'll be prepared for when it comes around again that second time.
This league doesn't really get the respect it deserves from an FCS standpoint, with having only 6 programs, but there's never an off week in this conference. Just what do you hope that your guys that will be coming back with you in 2025 have learned about how difficult the MEAC is, from a competitive standpoint?
I think the league does get the necessary respect across the deal when you talk about football coaches. There aren't too many FCS coaches across the country that looks forward to playing a team out of the MEAC. They understand what they're going to be in for during that game. It's not a give me win. We have 6 teams, but we have 6 teams, in my opinion, that are very good, are very talented, are well coached, are disciplined ball clubs, and can beat a number of FCS opponents. You've seen that throughout the year. So some of our programs in our conference were able to beat some of those FCS non-conference opponents this year. So, I think we definitely have an opportunity to make some noise this year. I think North Carolina Central deserves an opportunity to be in the playoffs. And I think, with South Carolina State, those guys going and representing us in the Celebration Bowl will do a good job and be successful there. So I think we're playing really competitive ball. And you're talking about 6 teams, and 2 teams out of the 6 have an opportunity to play postseason ball. That's pretty good.
Absolutely. And last question for me, obviously, the Beltway battle is going to be huge for you guys. And Howard has so much talent on in all 3 phases that you just can't hone in on one. But what do you think is going to be one part of emphasis for your guys as you game plan for this week?
We got to eliminate explosives defensively. We have to execute at a higher level offensively and play sound special teams. Coach Scott had the guys prepared. I know the guys on the coaching staff and understand what they're going to bring, challenges they're going to present for us. But we just have to be prepared and execute Morgan State football. We'll have a chance to win.
Thanks for your time this year, as always, Coach. Greatly appreciate you. Best of luck this weekend.
You got it, Chris. Appreciate you.
Our next questions for Coach Wilson come from James Hill.
Hey, Coach Wilson, I hope you and everyone in Baltimore are well. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, brother. How about yourself?
Yes, sir. Pretty good. Talk a little bit about this rivalry in terms of the historical context. 38 miles separate both cities. This is a big deal. DMV, the whole 9. This will be a special game.
It will. And like one thing to make a rivalry, you have to be competitive and both teams have to win. And I think over the last several years, Howard has the upper hand in that category. But at the end of the day, we have to focus on us at Morgan State University, do the things that we need to do to be successful. We understand the challenge. We understand the history of the rivalry. You understand the recruiting aspects of it because we recruit some of the same kids locally. So it's big on that deal. So I anticipate a lot of fans to be out to close this year out and just to see 2 of the local FCS programs clashing on a Saturday in Baltimore.
Coach, you are a national championship winning coach. You know what that looks like. Just talk a little bit about the culture and the program you're building, the Morgan way, and so far where you are and what that looks like and your assessment so far.
Well, we're still digging. We're still digging. You have to look at it. These kids weren't born when Morgan State was successful and sustained success. I mean, so you're trying to show them something that hasn't happened in their lifetime, to be quite honest with you. Have some success in some years, but nothing sustained since the 70s. And that's something that we have to go back and revisit. We have to educate them on the history, talk about the 4 Hall of Famers that played at this university, talk about the famous people that have a major impact on our country that graduated from Morgan State University, and hopefully get them to understand the importance of their role to continue and to be positive on and off the football field and make sure they understand their impact in the world as well.
Coach, when you see these gentlemen walk across the stage, shake hands, and get a degree, talk a little bit about what that can do for them for the rest of their lives. We talk about that 40 years. as they go forward, and how you're able to use football in that process?
You know what, James? That's what it's all about. And you know, COVID was a very unfortunate situation. But during that time, I had some time. I was bored, and I had some opportunities to go back and look at from day one when I became a head coach. How many guys did we graduate from that time? You know, until during COVID. And at that time, I realized, man, there were over 200 something guys that came through our program that graduated with their degrees. And you think about the impact that you've had on 100 different young men each year, each season in coaching. That's what it's all about, man. These young men are going to be graduates. They're going to hopefully one day invite you to their weddings, their baby showers, and that sort of thing. And that's when you know you're doing things the right way, man. And I'm extremely excited for the young men that's graduating in December. And I'm really thankful for what they put in to our program since they arrived here.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate covering you, and have a blessed day, football game.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot, James.
Our next questions for Coach Wilson come from Ty Miller.
Hey, Coach Wilson. Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm good, Ty. How about yourself?
I'm good. Coach, you haven't been there the entire time, but it's hard to believe that Howard's beaten Morgan 6 straight years. So what do you think has brought about that recent dominance, in addition to the fact that Howard, in those 6 games, has outrun Morgan State and basically controlled the clock in each of the games?
Well, I can't tell you about the time before I got here, but I know last year we had a very competitive football game, and we fell short. But I know Howard's a championship program. You know, Howard's coming off a celebration bowl experience last year, and you know, they represented the MEAC, so they're champions. We have to be prepared for Coach Scott to bring that championship caliber players up here to Baltimore. We have to be prepared to play a good football to have a chance to win. We can only control the things that we can control and take advantage of the opportunities that we have. And next Saturday is our next opportunity to have a chance to play some college football.
Having a chance to go 500 to end the season, Coach, if you could use one word to describe the 2024 Bears, what would that word be and why?
Perseverance. Reason I'm choosing perseverance just because of the number of challenges we've had, with regards to offensive line play. We're down, I think, 3 or 4 quarterbacks, lost 4 safeties. I can go on and down the list, but just the perseverance to have an opportunity to have a chance to win a ball game and win, several ball games and finish 500. I think it shows the guys and the coaching staff have persevered through a number of challenges just to get to this point.
And I know it's not over yet until that game is finished on Saturday, but what is the best reason for optimism going into the next season for your team?
Because we have some guys coming back that have experience. These guys would have, if we finish off this thing Saturday the right way. Guys that have ended on the right note. We've been in some very competitive games. We had an opportunity to beat some very good football teams since we've been here, and let's just continue to build in the offseason, learn from mistakes that we may have made this year, hit the weight room really hard, continue to do well in the classroom. Our team GPA right now is around a 3.0 GPA coming into this fall semester. So continue to just lay the foundation and all the other things to take care of themselves.
All right, Coach, enjoyed talking to you this season. Good luck this weekend and have a good offseason.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Wilson come from Nathaniel Henry Jr.
Good morning, Coach Wilson. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, brother. How about yourself?
Great. Nathaniel Henry, Howard University Sports Media. I had several questions that were already answered, but I have one last question. Speak about Kenny Gallup Jr. and his impact on the football game.
He's all over the field. He's a very good football player. Not only is he physical, he can run. He has a high football IQ, and you have to account for him when you're playing against Howard. That's for sure. And I had an opportunity to talk to him a little bit after the game last year, and he's a guy that represented the program, in different facets, whether it's media day or other things. And he presents well, man. He's a great young man, and I think he has some football ahead of him.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
You got it. Thank you.
Our next questions for Coach Wilson come from Kayla Sweezy.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good, Miss Kayla. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Specifically with Senior Day coming up, I wanted to ask about Elijah Williams and just the impact that he's had on the team and what special skills do you believe he possesses to try to take his career to the next level?
Elijah has been a great ambassador for not only the football program, but for the university. He's a guy that graduated in May. He's a guy that you'll see him at the basketball games, the volleyball game, rooting on the other student athletes. You'll watch him before practice or after practice with some of the younger defensive linemen, trying to show them, what it takes to be successful and show them that extra work. As far as him having an opportunity to play at the next level, we've had 27 teams to date come to practice and or games. And one thing that intrigues them is just his motor. He's a guy that's going to play all 4 quarters. He's a guy that's going to practice hard. He's not looking for a way out. He's trying to trying to find a way to be successful and overcome his any challenges and work on his shortcomings. He's not the tallest guy. He's probably about 6'2.5", 6'3". So he understands that his hands and his football IQ needs to be on a different level to give himself a chance. And I think he's done everything possible to allow him to play after college.
And for Elijah, his preparation after Saturday and just preparing for those opportunities, what will the coaching staff, Morgan State, and just the football program's involvement look like in his preparation to play professional?
Well, as I meet with all my seniors once they finish up, so he and I will have a meeting, and his family, they'll get together with regards to agents and all that other good stuff and talk about, workouts. I think he has a couple All-Star games coming up. I know he's a guy that's on a watch list for the East-West Shrine Bowl. I know Senior Bowl has shown some interest as well. He's already been invited to the Legacy Bowl, which is great. So he'll have an opportunity to play in 1 or 2 of those bowl games and get prepared for his pro day.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach, and best of luck Saturday.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And our next questions for Coach Wilson come from Dwayne Nash.
Good afternoon, Coach. How are you?
I'm good. How about you? How about yourself, Dwayne?
I'm doing all right. You have a lot of guys on your roster that probably have smart trip cards in their wallet right now. So with everyone touching on the fact that this is a big rivalry matchup with Howard coming up this weekend, do you have any idea of what this matchup means for those players that are from the D.C. area with Howard coming into town this weekend?
I'm quite sure it's a little special for those guys as well. I'm a D.C. native, and it's special. Anytime you're able to have 2 FCS programs fairly close to one another, and like I said, we deal with some of the same recruits. I think it's really special. So I'm looking forward to those guys coming up the road. I know our guys are looking forward to it, as we have a number of guys from Washington, D.C., and of course Maryland on our team. So I'm looking forward to a very good football game.
And I believe I see that Luke Williams is still on the call. If that's the case, can you go ahead and make a pitch for Elijah Williams and his potential to win the Deacon Jones Trophy, and with the potential of being the first defensive player winning that trophy?
I think Mr. Williams does a great job in doing his research and reviewing film and that sort of thing. And it's hard to find a game where Elijah is not being a dominant force. So I think him and the staff will do a great job with that. I think that'd be a major honor. We've had an opportunity in the past. I've had a couple of guys fortunate enough to win that award in the past. And that's just great just to be in that conversation, have Elijah in that conversation to possibly receive an award like that.
All right. Thanks, Coach Wilson. Have a good luck this week.
You got it.
Our next questions for Coach Wilson come from Luke Williams.
Hey, Coach, I figured I'd jump on and make a comment since my name has been brought up a couple of times. I don't know about this. I don't know about the staff I have that's evaluating things, but I'm actually more commenting than asking a question. Certainly, Elijah Williams is one of the first people who was invited. I am on the selection committee with the Legacy Bowl, and he certainly was one of the first names, as well as others that were mentioned, Jaden Sutton, Kenny Gallup at Howard. So I just wanted to say that those names that are mentioned are certainly the first ones that are mentioned in terms of being in the running for that award. And I know you've had Amir Hall, I think, won twice when you were at Bowie State. I wasn't even on the committee then. I think Ty Miller might have been on the committee then. I've only been working with them for the past couple of years, but I just wanted to make it clear to everybody that we still are looking for players. If coaches have any players, seniors or grads who have used up their eligibility that they think deserve a shot, you can certainly contact me. And, we're trying to fill out, we have 100 people total, 50 on each team, 50 on the Robinson team, 50 on the Gaither team. The Robinson team is the SWAC SIAC team, and the Gaither team is the MEAC CIAA, Tennessee State, West Virginia State side. So anybody, any coach. So I'm sorry, I don't have a question. I just wanted to make it clear. Any coach that's still on, or any coach, anybody that's on that has a relationship with the coach, if there's anybody that you would like to be given an opportunity to play in the game and to participate in the HBCU Combine before the game, you can contact me. I think I'm the only one on here. Charlie Neal is on the committee, Doug and Shaq, Doug Williams and Shaq Harris and others. So I'm sorry, Elise, I didn't have a question, but I did want to, since my name was mentioned a couple of times, I wanted to clarify that.
Appreciate it, Lute. Our next question for Coach Wilson come from Stephen Gaither.
Coach Wilson, how you doing today?
Doing good, Steve. How about yourself, brother?
Doing great, doing great. So I know you followed your career for a while. So you've been at this for a minute. Asked a couple of coaches this early on to ask you, when we are getting to the end of the game and you feel like it's getting chippy, as a coach now, are you a proponent of always shaking hands, or is there ever a time where for you feel like, okay, maybe we need to rein it back in? What's your thought process on that?
I've been pretty fortunate